On the back of the first and only Enduro of the season, the second half of the RSRA Super Series returns us to sprint mode, but the emphasis is twice as much as it normally would be because it's also leg two of the DSL Welding Triple Crown. We stay in America. We move from Chicago to Detroit, the Belle Isle Grand Prix circuit for leg two of the DSL Welding Triple Crown, round 7 of the RSRA Super Series. And of course, from here, 5 sprints and a double sprint to go to get us to the checkered flag at the end of round 12, in which we'll crown our champions. Very good evening, everybody. Nice to have your company wherever you're tuning in all around Australia on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting and Real Sim Racing Australia. Welcome to round 7 of the RSRA Super Series. As I said, we might go from Enduros back to sprint mode tonight, but there's twice as much emphasis on this round because of the Triple Crown factor. And, of course, for the second week in a row, we're playing chicken with concrete barriers. Yep, it's a concrete jungle once more, and we're looking forward to what should be an awesome street race on the streets of Detroit. This circuit, of course, more synonymous with IndyCar. Tonight it's going to play host to supercars. The Holden and Ford battle heads to Detroit, of course, the home of the Motor City. Good evening, everybody. Zach Cabin and Chris Kisby with you. Great to be with you wherever you're tuning in all around Australia. And, of course, we are pumped about what might unfold here across the course of the next 43 laps. We'll get to all the race information in just a moment. The Spirit of Tasmania will join us as well. But first up, let's go for a lap of this circuit. It's 3.78 kilometres. It's 14 turns. Our trusty guru, director and producer, JP, has the lap for you.
I'm JP, and I'm going to take you for a hot lap of the Detroit Grand Prix circuit at Belle Isle. This track is a real concrete canyon. It's bumpy, unforgiving, and one mistake can mean the end of your race and the end of the race of other cars around you. Looking for a good exit out of turn 13 here. No wheel spin, on the power as quickly as we can, flat through turn 14, and we're starting our lap. Deep breath now, we're on the brakes at the 350, 360 mark. Trail the brake, turn in nice and tight. On the power again, switch back to the left, be careful of the wheel spin. We're over the bridge and past the tricky first 2 corners. Get the car as far to the left of the road as you can. Past the Penske Bridge, and we're looking for the second tree before we're hard on the brakes. Trail the brake down to second gear, we turn into the 100-metre board. Use all the road, get on the power early. Second gear, third gear, hold third gear. Trail the brakes into turn 4. On the power as quick as you can, across to the other side of the road. On the brakes again, turn in, on the power. All of this in third gear. Now we shift down to second gear. Early turn in as close as we can to the wall. Short shift to third gear. Get the car all the way across to the right-hand side of the track. We're looking to straighten out the braking zone into turn 7 here. Moving back across to the left now on the brake, shifting down into second gear, turning just before the 100-metre board. Back on the power, short shift to third gear now, in second gear, on the power, short shift to third. Off the power, modulate the throttle through this section here, on the brakes, second gear, first gear, short shift, second gear, be careful of wheel spin, get as far across to the left as you can. Brake at the 350 mark, trail the brake, third gear, on the power, off the power, fourth gear, early shift now, on the power as hard as you can, flat through here to finish off the lap. Well, that was a hot lap of the Detroit Grand Prix circuit at Belle Isle. I'm JP, aboard the SimShed Broadcasting ZB Holden Commodore for the Real Sim Racing Australia Super Series and Super 2 Series. Back to you, Zach.
Awesome lap, or awesome circuit, fraught with danger. And tonight it'll separate the men from the boys in this championship. Big news off the top. Rainer Costello not back on the grid. I'll detail why a little bit later on. In the meantime, the Spirit of Tasmania, the bloke that claims to be from a bygone era, Chris Kisby, down there in the Upper Isle, joins me this evening. Mate, good evening to you. Nice to have you aboard. Qualifying about to wrap up here, but we've got about 5 minutes before the race starts, so it gives us a little bit of time to talk about the big news, and that is that our championship contender, our favourite, as in we're Ford fans at heart, but we're not biased when it comes to commentary, well, at least I'm not, Unfortunately, Rene Costello won't be flying the Ford flag again for the rest of the season and for a foreseeable period because of a ban from iRacing. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off and call it what it is.
Yes, mate. Well, it's just so disappointing, isn't it? Not knowing what went on in the background, what's been going on. He's not here, and we've got to look for another Ford to try and get up there. So it's a real shame. Looks like I might be getting onto the Cameron Jones bandwagon. Or the Simon Chadwick. So I hope I don't put the mocker on Cameron or Simon, but they're up there at the top at the moment. But you got those red lions sitting up there with McNamara, Pereira, and we've got to knock them off the top. But a very good evening to you, Zach, for what is getting into the season really well. Good evening, viewers, and we're watching the Olympics. As Zach always says, one screen on the Olympics, one screen on the racing, and another screen somewhere else checking some other sport out. But Australia and Germany 1-1 in the second. So, yeah, doing well.
All right, just to elaborate on what Chris Kisby was talking about, well, firstly, 2 screens on the Olympics, 1 on us, because it's on 2 channels at the moment. And secondly, volume on this. Thirdly, it's 1-1 in the men's semi-final hockey as well, just to elaborate there as well. Kisby did say 1-1, he just didn't specify which sport. There are 1,000 of them, but it is, of course, men's hockey, and we're enjoying all of that. The Olympics, the are doing well. 100%. Let's have a look at the championship points, talk about why we're here, first and foremost. Of course, at the end of the first half of the season, round 6 in the books, Dylan Rudd, 899 plays, Matthew Scholes, 806. A big deficit there between Scholes and Rudd at this point in time. Rehan Leonage is next best, 791. Then Peter Crossingham, Dylan Pereira, Jamie Dyke, Rainer Costello, Dean Reddit. Then Mitch Campbell and Dean Alessi, the top 10. Rainer's going to just keep plummeting down the order, unfortunately. Dylan Rudd, the man to beat at the moment, 93 points in inches, as good as a mile. Remember, it's 150 for a round. So if he was to go into the final round at Mount Panorama with in excess of 150 points, you'd pretty much call it game over. Ooh, hang on, what's going on here? Something's not quite right there, folks, because we're seeing 2 names instead of 1. So we'll see if there we go. Rod Hollis, 705, then Alan Dawson, Lindsay Hobbs, Brian Cooper, and Alex Court make up the top 15 as well. So there's room for improvement in a few of these guys. However, obviously, the big story being Rainer Costello. We'll let that keep rolling through there for you. Let me tell you off the top here, Sean McNamara has taken pole position tonight ahead of Dylan Pereira. The margin is just under a tenth of a second. Cameron Jones, third best, then Dylan Rudd, Simon Chadwick, Rehan Leonage, Jacob Brewer, Alex Court, Ben Morris, and Brenton Nitschke, the top 10 there. Now, we mentioned about Rainer Costello's absence. Aaron Dodd is the other big story tonight. He and Robert Crisdale will start from pit lane. Crisdale because of a toe in qualifying. Dodd because he went out and qualified in the wrong session. You might recall last week we've got a very similar qualifying format in place this week where we have a 10-minute practice, then a 35-minute quali, but it's 15 minutes for the bottom 50% and 15 minutes for the top 50%. Dodd, having got into the top 50% last week, went out in the bottom 50% session. Curtains, he will start from pit lane. So that's a big it'll be a big ask on this track. Yeah, but it's a big stuff up on his part for one, and two, it's a big task ahead for him for the rest of the evening because overtaking is not easy around here. Probability of safety cars naturally high. Now we've got about 3 minutes here, so let's have a look at DSL Welding Triple Crown points for you, and of course this is going to receive a shake-up tonight as well because the man that's on top is not here. In Rainer Costello. Look at that. 155 plays Rehan Leonage, 146 Matthew Scholes, then Dylan Rudd, Ben Morris, Peter Crossingham, Alex Court, Jamie Dyke, Dean Reddit, and Cameron Jones. So the top 9, they can all move forward. But obviously Rainer Costello is not going to be factoring in the points there, which is it's hugely disappointing because he's such a competitive young bloke. He's such a nice young bloke. And iRacing have just taken a disliking to him and said, look, see ya. We can soldier on without you. You might not be able to soldier on without us, but it's not a two-way street. So
just sit there, deal with it, take it in, move on to next season and come back bigger and stronger.
Hopefully, he will be back next season.
Yeah.
Of course, next season is still the better part of 7-8 weeks away now, with this being the 6th last round of the season. A lot to get into there. That's the DSL Welding Triple Crown points that you just saw on your screen there. They will get a shake-up tonight, no doubt about that. Now let's have a look at the track information for this round of the championship. Then we'll have a look at the grid. We're running short for time tonight, but there's plenty to get through here. 3rd of August 2021, race start 9:50 a.m. Detroit time, which, you know, it's early tomorrow morning on the east coast of Australia, so it doesn't add up quite, but it's a morning race for these guys. 22 is the air temp, 26 on track, 12 kilometre an hour easterly winds for you. 3.78 kilometre circuit, 43 laps, 162.5 kilometres the race distance around here, and 65 kilometres an hour is the pit lane speed limit. Fuel restriction at 49.5 litres, if we can just bring that back. 2 pit stops, 3.25 litres of light fuel burn, and 2 set tyre limit for these guys as well. And of course, that's the set that they start on, and another set on top of that. So bear all of that in mind. Let me just crunch some numbers here with regards to the fuel mileage. So we're looking at 49.5 divided by 3.25, 15.23. So, you know, 15, somewhere between 15 and 16 laps. That gets them to 30 to 32 laps, which means you can either short fuel and go home for 11 laps, or you can long fuel and go home from about lap 28, 29. So there are a couple of options there, Kisby, as with regards to how they play this strategy. And it'll all be determined on tyre wear, which is always a talking point each and every single week, and how the degradation fares for these guys throughout the course of the evening. If they're struggling with their rubber, they might opt to come in early and get that fresh set and try and get the undercut on their rivals.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and the tyre wear on concrete as well over bitumen is, I sort of... warm-up finished, yeah, okay. But concrete, I find a little bit slippery. We can see them gridding up there.
All right, let's have a look at the grid on that note, Kisby. I'll come back to you about the tyre wear as the race unfolds here. All right, same deal as usual. I'll go 1 through to 6, and Kisby will go 7 through 12. So, rows 1 to 6. Sean McNamara and Dylan Pereira front row. Cameron Jones, Dylan Rudd second row. Simon Chadwick, Rehan Leonage third row. 4th row, Jacob Brewer, Alex Court. 5th row, Ben Morris and Brenton Nitschke. 6th row, David Kirby and Jamie Dyke.
And over the pace, 7th row, Peter Crossingham, Craig Schultz. 8th row, Massive Shoals, Sam Noble. 9th, Dean Alessi, Ash Davis, Hayden Norris, Dean Reddit on the 10th. Kai Turner, Brian Cooper, 11th. Dean Powell, Alan Dawson on the 12th row.
13th row is where you'll find Mitch Campbell and Lindsay Hobbs. 14th row is Chris Barnes and Robert Crisdale. 15th row, Aaron Dodd and Rod Hollis. But we know that Crisdale and Dodd will start from pit lane. And Lee Davis is the safety car. So who will get the jump for the start of the second half of the season? Can McNamara finally get himself into victory lane on the back of pole position? Let's find out. Week 2 of the DSL Welding Triple Crown in screen. And a shot start for McNamara. Look at Cameron Jones.
Cameron,
the pack. 5 car lengths on the field already, and Jones has bolted out of the blocks.
What a start.
Yeah, look at this. The charge down to turn 3. McNamara goes back into second position, right up to third. Dylan Pereira's had a shocker of a start as well, dropping down 3 positions, or 2 now, having got back by Simon Chadwick.
Lindsay Hobbs had a crash.
We were talking about this, Kisby.
Yeah.
Jones is now the hope for Ford fans, and he set out and proved it.
No good thing. But yeah, what a start. He got off that line extra fast. He left the other standing and going through to turn 1 there. And turn 1's not so much of a problem for me. Turn 2 and 3, they're the ones that really catch you out on cold tyres, especially this first couple of laps. But hopefully Cameron can keep it under go. Here we go. It's Sean McNamara's coming up right up on the back of Cameron there, into the corners, with Dylan Rudd right on the back of Sean as well.
Absolutely. Through they go for the first time. And, the 9.5 SimSport boys. Rudd and McNamara doing a nice job. McNamara with the jump here, second and third. McNamara with pole position, first one of the season. And finally, it looks like he might be able to convert an opportunity into a result here. It's a long way to go, another 42 laps, but McNamara is at the right end of town. He hasn't been caught up in an early race incident. He hasn't ended up as an early retirement, so this is a good sign for him. We know he's had pace. He just hasn't had a hell of a lot of luck this season so far, Chris Kisby.
That's right. I mean, the way to get off that line, to be honest, that has to be one of the best starts off the line that I've seen this season. He just seemed to leave them for dead. He left them standing still. And now he's just got to consolidate. He's got clean air at the front. The race is basically his to lose now. So the others have got to try and get around him. As we know, it's not a real easy track to pass at. And I know that you hit the curbs that can throw you into a wall. And once you hit the wall, say goodbye, say goodnight, Irene.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Rod Hollis hasn't come round. Rod Hollis hasn't completed the first lap. Clyde Turner is sitting there in last position at the moment, but the field is still running, which is good to see. 30, how many we had started now? We had 29 start, 29 still up. So, in the meantime, Alex Court sitting 8th just behind Rehan Leonage. So Leonage has lost one spot, but Alex Court hasn't dropped any off the start here. Lap 3 of 43. Brings of Belle Isle. Sean McNamara, the fastest lap of the race.
Just looking back through the field, there's Zach Aaron Dodd already up 7 spots. So he's coming through the pack already.
Coming through like a train and doing so nicely. McNamara's closing up on Jones. So, I mean, look at this. You've got Rudd, who's got form and has the championship lead. And to be fair, these two, here we go, drive-through penalty. Ah, no. Aaron Dodd. That's going to throw the cat amongst the pigeons. He failed to comply with race control directions, which was start from pit lane because you breached qualifying protocol. And therefore, he's going to cop a drive-through penalty for his trouble. So that now makes sense. That now makes sense, Chris Kisby, why he's been able to move forward 8 positions, because he started on the grid. He started on the grid. It's late for the field to pass pit lane.
The back and start again.
That's going to start again. Yeah, absolutely. It's over an hour worth of racing here for you, folks.
Yeah.
Once you take into consideration the potential for safety cars, the pit lane, etc. and so forth, it'll be over an hour's worth of racing here tonight. 162.5 kilometres. Back we go. 0:20. Hayden Norris all over the back of Matthew Scholes right now. Dean Alessi in behind them. They make their way across the line. Jones is on lap 4. He's on song tonight. So this is interesting, isn't it? Just to come back to where we were before we spoke about the Dodd penalty. You got Dylan Rudd, the championship leader, with no pressure on him whatsoever. He just needs to keep finishing. He wins his title. You've got Jones and McNamara looking to prove a point. 2 guys that haven't had the season they would have liked. 2 guys that haven't had a win yet. 2 guys that desperately want one to prove some points.
Well, that's right. It's just sit there and play it safe. Dylan's up 1 spot, so he's safely there in 3rd. And
hang on. Jacob Brewer just caught up in a big one. David Kirby's in the pit lane as well, has been there for a while. Let's have a look at what happened to Jacob Brewer now. He's on the run down to turn 3. I don't like how this is looking. Down the inside. Oh, too deep. Locked it up, locked it up. Down off the circuit.
Easy is that?
So it wasn't necessarily a big incident, but it is a time-costing incident for him.
Yeah, he's got to sit there and wait for the whole field to go past. You sort of, from that angle, you cannot get back on safely if there's no gap. If they're all trailing through nose to tail, then he's just got to sit there and wait. Replay back to the start. And go, Clyde Turner.
Down to turn 1.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, if ever it was going to happen, it was going to be turn 1, wasn't it? Everyone did pretty well.
It looked like his steering. It looked like his steering was stuck to the right. Because he looked like he was rubbing for halfway down the straight there. what's happened there. He's had a mechanical malfunction there, which has put him into the car beside him, and caused that incident right off the start line. But wow, here we go. In concrete, I find concrete really, really slippery. I don't know about other drivers and things like that, but over Benjamin, whether it's a mental thing or whatever, but I don't find the concrete as easy to drive on as the bitumen, and I find that in real life as well. It seems to be a lot shinier and smoother, especially in the rain. And big news coming from iRacing, eh? I had to check that it wasn't the 1st of April.
Yeah, true. We'll get to that in just a moment. But the other point too, consequently, Kisby, is in fairness to you, when you're driving on concrete in the real world, I wouldn't imagine you're going to be doing it at 200 kilometres an hour. In the meantime, Dylan Rudd is found away by Sean McNamara and make their way through. Jones has escaped to a 1-second advantage at the moment here over Rudd and McNamara. Pereira is 4th and Chadwick is 5th. Benny Morris sitting there in 6th. Rehan Leonard 7th. This is how it happened. Rudd getting by McNamara. Make their way through. Oh, big sliding moment from McNamara. That's how it happened. McNamara did well to gather that up and knock it up in the wall.
Wow. How easy can you lose the rear end of these things?
So easily.
Yeah, it's just a half a bit of pressure on the accelerator and away it goes. It's the same with the front brakes locking, you know, you just too much pressure on and they'll lock up on you.
So in the meantime, we continue to watch this battle further back with Ben Morris all over the back of Simon Chadwick at the moment. Rehan Leonard and Alex Corder there for company as well. But again, already you're seeing how difficult it is to try and find an overtaking manoeuvre on this circuit. We are only on lap 6. It is round 7 of the championship, round 2 of the Triple Crown. And you're watching it on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting across YouTube and Facebook around Australia. Great to have your company. Those of you that tuned in on Saturday night, yes, my voice is somewhat recovered after the frantic finish there with the Weekend Warriors. They're back this Saturday night from Charlotte, and we've got some news regarding the RSRA Super 2E series as well, which we'll inform you of at the end of this broadcast. A little bit of a scheduling change this week, unfortunately.
Mitch Campbell up 7 spots there, Zach, and most of them are around the 2 to 3 spots, but Mitch has gained 7, so he's done well out of the start of the race.
There are some guys who've done particularly well. David, 4 positions gained. Hayden Norris, Sam Noble, 3 positions gained. So too Benny Morris. But as you say, a lot of 2s and 1s around there. 19 positions lost. 19 positions lost to Jacob Brewer. David Kirby with 18 positions lost, although I wouldn't be surprised. I think he's got back out onto the circuit just now, so he's 4 laps down and struggling. Kai Turner still in pit lane at the moment. 7 positions lost, so 19 and 18 for Brewer and Kirby, and 2 positions gained for Aaron Dodd. That's what happens when you start at the back. Rod Hollis, the early non-starter here, 29th in qualifying or somewhere of that vicinity. He might have been 30th and has not taken the start. So unfortunately, the field was depleted before we even got underway. We've got the whole field still running, but the big thing is that only 27 remain on the lead lap. At such an early point of the race. Now, don't forget too, folks, updates from the Olympics throughout the evening. The men's 5,000 coming up a little bit later on, featuring a couple of Aussies from the Olympic Stadium in Tokyo.
I was just looking through there, and it's 10 Fords versus 20 Holdens. So
yeah, I know, we're outnumbered.
We're outnumbered, mate. We're outnumbered, and it's good to see the old blue oval sitting there out the front. Keep it going, Cameron.
That's the way. We're not biased at all, ladies.
No, we're not.
We just want everyone to do well.
As much as I like my mate Alex Court down here in Tasmania he's a Taswegian. We're both in the Apple Isle. We're both spirits of Tasmania, but he's driving the wrong colour. In my eyes. But in his eyes, he's driving the right one, so he's allowed to do that.
Yeah, and I just want to stress, ladies and gentlemen, no bias at all here in Central Commentary. Just opinion, and that's more than welcome, as we know, in most cases. Lap 8 of 43, and and you're watching Lindsay Hobbs there in 24th position at the moment. And that's the good thing about this circuit too, Kisby. You look around here, 1, 2, 3, nice and tightly bunched. 5, 6, 7, 8, tightly bunched. 9 and 10, tightly bunched. Then 12, 13, 14, 15. 16, 17. No, sorry, I will start that again. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Then 17 is being pursued by 18, 19, 20. And then Brian Cooper's out on his own at the moment. Alan Dawson in 22nd position has company with Chris Barnes, Lindsay Hobbs and Robert Crisdale and Jacob Brewer. So they literally battle packs all through the field. Now, breaking news out of men's football as well. Ben Morris trying to get down on the inside, and Simon Chadwick couldn't get the job done. Breaking news in men's football, Brazil on a penalty shootout has defeated Mexico. So Brazil will progress to the men's gold medal match in football. Very nicely.
The Olympics, mate. I was watching last.
Lindsay Hobbs! Lindsay Hobbs crabbing towards pit lane, but he'll make it.
Wow.
We stay green.
Good stuff. Just on the Olympics, I was watching last night. I was watching the female basketball. How good to get their 25 points in front.
Yeah.
To get be able to. Oh, we got.
Uh-oh.
Who's that?
That was the Hobbs incident.
Oh, okay.
I'll probably have a look at that because that was, I think that Robert Crisdale was the 5.55 that got caught up with him there. So Robert had nowhere to go, but Hobbs, unfortunately, has ridden up on the wall. And unfortunately, cars don't like driving on walls. That's more a thing with skateboards, unfortunately.
And you might have heard me having a bit of a chuckle there. It's because I had a bit of a message there, and it's from our good mate Reno. And he says, good luck in the booth tonight, guys, watching the broadcast. Now, don't worry, I'll be back by the end of the year. Go Ken Jones.
That's the one.
That's the attitude to have, mate. Sit there, take it on the chin, and come back bigger and better and stronger next season. Good to see that you're watching the broadcast and enjoying it. So that's what we're here for.
And I apologise to Rayner too, because in amongst all the messages that I get from Discord as a matter of notifications, I'm just seeing your message up there now, mate. So I'm not being ignorant. It's just I can't reply to your message and watch the broadcast at the same time.
I get to see more than he does.
Exactly. Through they go. This is Alex caught in 8th position at the moment. Reham Leonard's just ahead of him. So the two teammates working together at the moment. Jones, Rudd, McNamara, Pereira and Chadwick, the top 5 here. Somewhat status quo. Chadwick. So have a look at this. Jones and Rudd up 2 each. McNamara and Pereira down 2 each. So starting on the front row didn't exactly work.
No.
Starting on the front row may have just been a little bit of a curve tonight.
Yes, it could have been. But that's the nature of this. I mean, you can see the black mark there, the drive line of how the drivers should be taking the corners and where their driving line is. It's an indication, and you see how close they get to the wall. You know, some of these guys may end up with no mirrors. Look at how close. There's that 190. That's Cameron Jones. Look how close he gets to that wall. And around he goes. And sometimes it's a benefit to hit the curbing, and other times it's not. It'll throw you like crazy. But, yeah, getting it through my ear that he did actually touch the wall through there, so it's a wonder he's still got a mirror.
Yeah, so often we normally see the mirrors the first things to go flying off cars on street circuit.
Mirrors, yeah. One of our cars in iRacing does it. Is it the Porsche? I think is it the new NX5s? They do it now, but I'm not sure these V8s do. Oh, look at the slide.
A big slide. So Jones, Rudd, McNamara, Pereira and Chadwick, the top 5 at the moment.
But I'm sure they'll rectify that as the seasons go on. Yeah, so there's a bit of news coming through with iRacing that I've seen in the chats and streams and all that sort of stuff coming through there. Someone was talking about hill climbs and all sorts of things, so I don't know where they're going with that one. But just interesting what they've got in the works, Zach.
Yeah, finally some positive innovation and potentially some some groundbreaking stuff coming the way of iRacing, and it's good to see them trying to reinvent the wheel, and trying and investing money, time, resources into trying to up the experience to a whole new level. Look at this. Nice all over the back of Simon Chadwick. He's been there all night, but that was very close to giving him a nudge.
Don't fight too much,
That was
boys.
huge.
Don't fight too much. There's two Fords fighting against each other. You want to get in front of the Holdens and then fight. Or
we'll
get
get-
in between them.
Well, that's true. We'll get some thoughts from everybody that joins us post-race here on what the rain might mean for iRacing going forward.
We did have a bit of a discussion about it last night, didn't we, Zach?
Yeah, I'm
about,
excited by it.
I'm excited, and I said, well, what did I can't exactly remember what I said. It's not going to make them drive any different. Is it? They should be driving different.
No, they're race car drivers. They'll always be limited.
Exactly. Oh, look at that. Australia 2-1 up in the hockey.
So the Kookaburras going along nicely, getting the better of the Germans at the moment in the third quarter, 2-1. And that is also for a gold medal match position. So, I mean, whilst the Hockey Roos are gone, we may get the Kookaburras. Oh, no!
What's going on,
David Kirby out of business. Safety car on track. That is huge. The race has been neutralised. This is how it happened.
Replay.
From the aerial shot.
Looks like it's all
Down
by
to turn
himself as well.
3. Oh.
Oh, I know how that feels. I so know how that feels.
Pushka.
But
The Kirby's off and out of business.
why can't
That
he
will
get
be our
going
first
again?
safety car of the race. There we go. And everybody got wind of that because crossing of Noble, Scholes, Davis, Norris, Alessi, Reddit, Campbell, Power, Cooper, Dawson, Barnes, Dodd, Brewer and Crisdale all took the opportunity to jump in. And nicely done too. And it's disappointing for Jones, Rudd, McNamara, Pereira and Chadwick that they didn't get wind of it earlier. But that's a big leg up for the back end of town. So, the field is neutralised for the first time tonight at the end of lap 13.
So we got our Bitcoin, mate.
We did. And so, safety car deployed at the start of lap 13. The field will be brought under its control on lap 14 once Jones catches up. Pit lane, well, let's see what they do because this throws the cat amongst the pigeons, Kisby.
It does, because
For a couple of reasons, because
yet, so
yeah, well, that's right. They haven't pitted yet. Now they come in. Here we go. This is where it's at right now.
they
But
had to
more to
cover
the point,
everybody else.
100%. But more to the point, let me just remind you, when we talk about everyone's coming in now just to cover their tracks, 49.5 was the fuel litre restriction tonight. 3.25 was the burn per lap. 15 and a quarter laps. So no one's got to 15 before they've come in. However, in a 43 lap race, it's going to be tight because the guys that got to 13 can now fuel up 15 laps in it from here. So 28 is their next critical number. The guys that came in on 12 save a bit of fuel under safety car, and their critical number is going to be 28. So everyone's going to be in that window to fuel up once more from here and get home.
So
Let's find a different way to
once
get
went early. We're in 12. These guys are in 13th now. And Davis, Power, and Dawson haven't pitted yet. I'm expecting them to come back in again. But do they get that extra couple of laps under yellow to go further when the pit stops start next time? So strategies, they're going to be up in the air, and they're going to be, all their pit crews are going to be doing all their workings out and seeing where they can actually, here we go, they're in now. So they'll get that extra lap.
And that means the whole field will have stopped on either lap 12 or 13. With the exception of Kai Turner, who stopped on lap 6 and is still trying to make up some time. Robert Crisdale has been in the lane for the better part of 4.25 minutes. He's now on his way back out, so he's also 4 laps down. Lindsay Hobbs has been in the lane for 8 minutes. David Kirby is now, having been towed, back on the pit road and able to stop. But Yeah, I'm a little bit perplexed by all of that. Just having a look here. See, Rod
All
Hollis was
around
manually
the same
disconnected from the
too.
server. Aaron Dodd was black flag. Those two events, of course, we were already aware of. But
Yep.
it says nothing about any of the drivers currently in the server having disconnected. So still 29 there.
Yep.
But as for those on the lead lap, that number is starting to shrink.
It is. So you got them all pitting on 12 for 13. All average pit stop, around the 43 by the looks of it. There's a couple of Craig Schultz there at 47 seconds. Peter Crossing at 50 seconds. But mainly around the 43, 44 seconds. So a lot to unfold in this race yet, Zach.
Yeah, absolutely. Just updating you again, 2-1, the Aussies and the Germans at the moment. So the Aussies in control, 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. And just having a look at the other stuff that's on around Tokyo tonight. They've got the men's either 5,000 or 1,500, one of the two, lining up ready to go. We've got the safety car going around one more time. Lights are still on that at this point. There is the women's beach volleyball quarterfinal is up a little bit later on tonight as well. So
those two girls have been doing great in their heats and getting up and around.
Yep.
Just the way, and she isn't real tall either. The what's her name? The one that stays at the net most of the time. I can't remember
That's
their
right.
names.
Yeah.
That's why I've got you here, mate. But man, she can get around a court.
Solar and Clancy.
That's it.
Clancy's the tall one. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Now, so men's 5,000 meter heats underway too in Tokyo just now. So a lot going on tonight. The Boomers play Argentina at 10 o'clock as well. We'll try and get you out of here by 10:30 so you can go and watch the last 3 quarters of that, ladies and gentlemen. In the meantime, we continue on. It's 8:58 Australian Eastern Standard Time. We're on lap 15 of round 7 of the RSRA Super Series, Leg 2 of the DSL Welding Services Triple Crown. This is an awesome result so far for that man on screen, Cameron Jones. He started third. He's in first. He's led every single lap thus far. Dylan Rudd leads Sean McNamara in the battle for second. Pereira, Chadwick, Morris. All bets are off because this field is bunched back up again. We wait and see whether this triggers more safety cars or whether we can go clean from here.
Alan Dawson looks like he's crashed coming out of pits. Don't know how long ago that was. 14. What are we on?
Very good question.
Yeah. He's moving, so that's good. They won't extend the safety car then. So,
Correct.
Cameron, can he get a great drive? Okay, so we're going to watch. It's in control of Cameron there.
The lights are still on that safety car at the moment, but we expect the lights to go out and him to come in this time. Lights out, we'll go back to racing this time.
He's taking control.
They can't pass the safety car until it crosses into the control line in pit lane. Once that has occurred, all bets are off. The field is in the control, the hands of Cameron Jones. When he puts the foot down, we go back to green. Remember, we're only just coming through the final little sector of the circuit here now. Here we go. Jones backs the field up. Now he hits the gas and gets going. Back underway in Detroit. On the run down towards turn 1. Great restart. Conversion off the line from Jones cleanly. Chadwick looking all over the back of Pereira. Can't find the way through. And here comes Benny Morris for good company as well.
Just enough to be able to get that little bit of a run.
Down they come.
Too wide round this, never going to work.
Oh, Morris! Can he find a way through? Yes, he can. Morris on Chadwick. Morris into the top 5 for the first time tonight.
I like your fighting, boys, but not the 2 forwards. We've only got 10 of them in the field, and one's out, so we're now down to 9. It's heart in the mouth stuff when they start doing things like that, Zach, I tell you.
Not wrong. Jones, Rudd, McNamara, Pereira, Morris, Chadwick, Leonage, Court, Dyke and Nitschke the top 10. Round they come.
Nicely controlled by Cameron Jones at the moment. Let's see, keep it going there, don't lose your head, follow your lines, hit your apexes. From driving myself here, it's slow in, fast out. You've really got to control that exit. There's a drive-through coming through. Chris Barnes.
For a pit lane infringement on lap 13. Now, of course, pit lane infringements have been the most penalised occurrence so far this season. Nothing else has been so strictly enforced as pit lane infringements. So that shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. What the only surprise, Kisby, is that these guys still haven't learnt anything and we're 7 weeks into the season.
Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? You sit there and you think about it, and then you get caught up in the moment. You want to get out, and or you want to get in, and you just have a brain freeze for that particular second. And once it happens, then it's all good. Oh, here we go. It's on the back.
Wow.
Can't quite see who it is.
So, you're watching the battle back there at this point in time as they head down. Oh, hang on. Back we go. A little bit of hip and shoulder, but right now we're riding on board with Dylan Rudd and Cameron Jones making their way around.
Oh, nothing silly, boys. Nothing silly.
No, nothing silly at all.
Make it a clean race.
Jones, Rudd, McNamara. So Jones has scraped the wall on 2 occasions now. Rudd just needs to sit in there and wait for his moment. Jones won't get away with that if he keeps doing it the rest of the night. Ash Davis in pit lane, it's important to note as well. The rest of the top 25 remain out there on circuit.
And Dylan will be sitting in behind here, and he'll be sitting in there, and he'll be showing himself in the mirror. Left mirror, right mirror. Come on, and he'll be saying, I'm here waiting for the mistake. And he'll be putting pressure on Cameron. And it's just sitting there and having the patience, because we're only 18 laps into a 43-lap race. Sit there, put the pressure on, get close, back off, get close, back off. Force him into a position where he thinks, well, I've got to go now and try and break this. Who we got? Coming up the inside. Will he hold that for... No, it looks like he had to pull back in and back off.
Yeah, and how close was he to getting the wall there as well?
So I hold my breath every time.
Absolutely. 100%. So back we go. This is the battle for the lead. Jones and Rudd. Dodd trying to force his way through at the moment back there in 21st position. We'll keep it tabs on him throughout the course of the night, but in the meantime, have a look at Rudd. He doesn't need to get away he doesn't need to find his way by Jones. He doesn't need to get the win tonight because he leads the championship by such a huge margin at this midway point of the season. A second will suffice. However, I'm sure he has a point to prove, and a win will do him just fine in helping him achieve that. So, through they go. This is a great performance so far from Cameron Jones. So, Chris Kisby hits his best showing of the season thus far.
It is. He's driving really well. We got Hayden coming through. He's had an incident there a little bit more back, and young Rehan there trying to hold off. Fishy Jamie Dyke and the Fishy Motorsports.
Jamie Dyke's had a great run in recent weeks. He was top 5 last week. He sits there in ninth, trying to look up on the outside of Rehan. Leonard's holding on the inside. Trouble! That's Jones! Cameron Jones is in massive trouble! Cameron Jones is limping back to the line. Can you believe this? How has this unfolded? The race leader out of business. And
not on
look,
this track.
to be honest, he's
There
just
we
gone
go.
through deep and clattered the wall and then
Yep.
got a hit on the way through from Rudd for his trouble. And look at McNamara trying to capitalise on that. So Rudd holds the lead. McNamara, Pereira, Morris both go through. Then Chadwick is fifth, and Cameron Jones is now in pit lane, out of race contention. And look at the damage on Rudd's car as well. This race just got opened up, and Brent Morris fancies his chances in fourth. He's all over the back of Pereira right now.
So there's the next Falcon, Morris and Chadwick. Let's see how much pressure they can put on the two boys in front there, Pereira and McNamara. Dylan Rudd's, he's just got to stay out in front, and I can't envisage that he won't stay there. A fantastic driver, but as we're seeing, as the tyres go off, they start to slide around. You have to back off. You have to attune your driving to the car as it goes through the race. And if you've kept your car in a nice, clean position in the first part of the race, no damage, then it's going to look better for you in the latter part of the race when the other guys, things are starting to go off for them. We're just getting it in the air there, viewers. We're going in car with Dylan Rudd. Bit of damage. Steering seems to be okay. It could be just some aerodynamic damage from not having a bonnet. Look at the work on that steering.
So at the moment, we've still got Dylan Rudd holding on to the lead here. We've got Dylan's on the podium, Rudd and Pereira. We got Rudd having gained 3 positions, Benny Morris up 5. They're first and fourth. McNamara and Pereira were your original front row. They've dropped a position each to sit second and third. There's that battle that we were looking at earlier between Matty Scholes in 11th, Sam Noble and Peter Crossingham in behind them. Have to go a little bit further back. We were having a look at Brian Cooper earlier on. He's still under pressure from Mitch Campbell, but they're trying to stay with Aaron Dodd. That's not going to work for them. There's so much.
Crashed.
We're only at halfway here. We are only at halfway here, Kisby. That's the interesting thing. Uh-oh. There goes Robert Crisdale. And that might be our second caution of the night. Let's have a look at this.
Let's wait for it. The Goodyear car. What a livery. What a good livery.
That car is crabbing, and he's had no choice but to pull it up on the side of the road. So that's coming round towards the last sequence of corners, about turn 11. Turn 10, turn 11. So if it remains parked there and he can't tow it back, it will be a safety car. The field will come under the control of Lee Davis once more. And at the moment, they soldier on.
3 minutes in the pits for Cameron, so that's his race finished for the night, I'd say.
I'd say so.
Yep. So, Rudd, McNamara, Pereira, Morris, Chadwick. Be a top 5. Still no sign of a safety car, so...
Not as yet. How long they want to leave that car parked there for, that remains to be seen, unless it has been cleared. Unless he's been able to get out of there. In the meantime, McNamara is sitting there in second position. Pereira is third. We're on board with Dylan Rudd. And still, like, either... Well, I don't want to speculate, but is Rudd hampered by the damage? And is that why the pack have been able to latch on the back and go with him? Because normally this season, Normally this season, down the inside. Oh, hold it together, boys. Synchronized sliding at its best. Now, Rudd, McNamara, Pereira, and Morris. Normally this season, Rudd, Dodd, Rayner, Costello, daylight everybody else. So the fact that Rudd is slightly compromised is helping keep things tight at the front of the field. Across the line they go, and we have lap 23 in the books. And
has to have something. Oh, Benny, take your time.
We're okay for the moment. We're still under green. That's the thing that surprises me.
So you would think having no bonnet is going to hamper him a little bit, even under iRacing conditions. But you've got Sean McNamara right on his tail, so he'll be trying to protect Dylan going through there. What was the championship? How far up was Sean McNamara?
He's not in contention, Kisby, of course. He missed out on points the first 2 weeks and then again last week as well. Teammates, they'll be trying. Sean, if he's not in contention, he'll be trying to protect Dylan and that championship race just for his teammates. So I would expect, watching a lot of the teams going through the Gentlemen's Club here, that they do look after their teammates as they go through. So hope, even as much as he'd want the win, he wants to keep Dylan up there to get as many championship points as possible for the season. Through they go again. In the meantime, we go back a little bit further in the field now. So, again, Kisby, the great thing about this race, and whilst you've been chatting away there, I've been looking at the leaderboard and a couple of other things, but there's still a lot of orange and yellow on this leaderboard. Still plenty to see and do.
Oh, there is.
We go back now to it's Benny Morris and Dylan Pereira. So Benny Morris there in the Ford. So we've got two hopes in the top 5 to keep an eye on here.
Yep.
The Mustang's going along nicely, and of course, Cameron Jones having dropped out of business. He's down in the pit lane and has been for 6 minutes and 10 seconds, now sitting 26th position. So there are still 22 out there on the lead lap. But
Aaron Dodd up 14 spots.
Yeah, some big stories unfolding. One of them is Aaron Dodd up to 15th from the rear of the grid twice.
Yeah, I just hope Morris and Chadwick don't fight too much here until getting into the latter part. I just hope that these two guys would sit there and help themselves through to keep on the back of these the first, second and third, and then they can really put the pressure on a little bit later. So
the observation from our extra set of eyes here in the booth is that Morris is very strong running into turn 1. Watch him. We're right on board with him this time by. You be the judge for yourself, folks. He's strong going into 1, but he then washes off too much speed through 2. There it is. Perfect example. Whoa! Almost chopped him off. Almost. Too fast through 1. Compromises the run through 2. That time especially. And Pereira's just able to break clear.
So in that aspect, I'm quite guilty of this all the time myself. Is not taking account of the car in front, not going as fast as I am, and it got me into a bit of problems last week in my up and comers, I believe. But this is where Ben Morris got to sit back and say, okay, well, he's not quite as fast there. I've just got to back off just a touch, and then as I come round the corner, then put the gas on, and then I should be able to get him as he's gone around. But as it is now, he's trying to do it in the wrong spot and causing himself time. So he's starting to catch up now. He's coming around. Seems to have great grip coming around there.
So just be mindful of this, Kisby. We're going to stay on board with Benny Morris here. We're going to watch him through turn 1 again. If he knocks 10 kilometres an hour off his speed into 1, he's going to have a lot better flow through 2 and therefore maintain his speed. I mean, obviously, the fact that Rudd's back in the pack up here, that's helping him stay with these guys. But if McNamara or Pereira find a way through, Morris is going to get left behind. Watch this. Through turn 1.
This is a flowing corner.
That was better. Much better from Benny Morris.
Get on the power, and away he'll go. It's a very flowing corner, that first corner. If you don't get in there and just back off just enough, and you've got to use that brake to sit there and rotate the front of the car to get it through, and then you can get on the power early coming out of the corner. hopefully he's learnt there, and the next time round he'll do exactly the same thing and be in a better position to set himself up.
Have a look at this. Down the inside. Here comes the move from McNamara this time. He's decided that now's the time to go. McNamara to the lead on the inside of Dylan Rudd. Now, the other thing to be mindful of too here, boys. We restarted the race at the end of lap 15, lap 16. So these guys will soon enough be heading towards that second pit window. 28. The end of lap 28 is the critical number. They've got 15 then to get home. But then they've also got to be mindful of the cool-down lap. So maybe they want to stretch this to 29 just to be mindful of that extra lap of fuel they're going to need. But we are waiting anxiously for that second round of pit stops, if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen. Sean McNamara, Dylan Rudd, Dylan Pereira, then Ben Morris, then Simon Chadwick, Alex Court, Rehan Leonage, Jamie Dyke, then Brenton Nitschke, Craig Schultz, then Matthew Skiles and Peter Crossingham, and off went Kai Turner on the replay for NTS. Now, just quietly too, we're in the final quarter of the hockey. The Aussies still leading the Germans 2-1 at this point. Here we go. Now, Schultz on the inside and Nitschke. Job done. Schultz gets the job done on the inside of Nitschke. Thank you very much. And covered it well. So, here we go. Lap 27 of 43. You're watching it on the platforms of Tim Shed Broadcasting and RSRA Australia. My phone has been going ballistic in the last short while, boys, and there's a reason for it, which I'll get to very shortly. It'll be the last thing on the agenda tonight, but our WA viewers will have to leave us a couple of minutes early if they are trying to avoid spoilers, because I've just got some news through that'll astound the motorsport community. In the meantime, through they go onto the main straight. We're on board with Benny Morris again. So now that McNamara's been released, Pereira's into the pit lane. Pereira has jumped in. That unleashes Morris to have a crack at Dylan Rudd. So Pereira trying to do the undercut now. He's going to try and get 16 laps out of this tank. Car 88 for car contact on 953 gets a drive-through penalty. Car 88 on 953. That's, of course, Dean Power on Sam Noble. Pereira, Leonage, Court, Dyke, Crossingham and Scholes, all in. So too Dawson.
Let's see where this brings us out. Can Benny Morris get in?
Oh, geez, big moment.
Who was that behind?
Huge tank slapper behind. So this is back to where we were earlier.
Number?
Jacob Brewer with a massive moment there. And that's, of course, Brian Cooper just ahead of him. And that's the guy... Sorry, Brian Cooper was who we were on. I froze a little bit there a short while ago, Kisby, because I couldn't quite pick up the number of the car we were watching. It's Brian Cooper.
I'm having the same problem.
That's
Alex
okay.
Court
We're good for the moment.
have a look at Alex Court trying to have a look at Sam Noble.
So Noble and Court. So Court trying to find a way back through. He's sitting 14th. The thing that bodes well for him is that everyone ahead of Court, with the exception of Dylan Pereira, has to stop again. Pereira's the only one to stop twice out of everyone that's ahead. McNamara, Rudd, Chadwick, all in. And that releases Ben Morris to lead this race at the end of lap 28. Morris is going long.
So can he get an overcut? An overcut. Can he get enough? Can he get the time out? Clean track in front of him. Away he goes.
Pereira.
So
this is huge if Pereira can pull this off. Rudd and McNamara both moving. Pereira going round the outside. Have a look at this. This is nice and tight, isn't it? Nice and tight. Pereira's right there. But Morris...
Are they on cold tyres?
But Reddit and... Morris and Reddit are still to stop.
Here we
go. Behind that, McNamara, Rudd. Then, of course, Pereira. Pereira sitting there in 5th. unable to convert on the undercut. But what's more interesting is that McNamara still got the better of Rudd. And what will be interesting is to see how hampered Rudd is going forward and whether Pereira can capitalise on that. So Morris and Reddit still 1-2 and yet to stop. McNamara, Rudd, Pereira are the ones that have stopped first in the order. Morris is giving it absolutely everything, and he comes to pit lane this time. So this is it. Benny Morris. It's the critical point of the race right now, Chris Kisby.
He needed to put everything into those 2 laps to get as big a lead as he possibly could while they were standing still. So you actually had to sit there and drive like a madman to get there. So they're coming around, what's that turn? Yeah, almost into the back straight. Just passing the pit entrance now is Dylan Rudd, Sean McNamara. So we're still waiting. They've got him. Yep. So
that backfired considerably for Benny Morris.
It did 42
that backfired
seconds.
Big time. So his pit stop time was 19.6 compared to everyone above him that's up for 17 or 18. So he lost time there. He also lost time by being on a ruined set of tyres, for lack of better words, at this time of the night. Whereas everybody else got that extra lap out of fresh rubber. So Morris has compromised his run there. Now Rehan Leonage, Alex Court have both got ahead of him, as has Simon Chadwick and Jamie Dyke. Morris has slipped eighth in all of that.
Yep. So it didn't work for him. But as a good friend of ours keeps saying, if you don't try, if what you're doing isn't working, try something new. And he had to try something that everybody else wasn't doing that possibly could go in his favour. And I think, Nick Fiatatis, Nico Pop, I can never get his name right. Yeah,
Nick Fiatatis, yes, I know who you meant.
Nick Fiatatis. He's a great believer in that. If you keep doing the same thing and it's not working, try something different, because that's what's going to get you the win.
100%. Now, just on all of this, we've been racing now across the line this time of 48 minutes, 49 minutes and 1 second. Sean McNamara leads the way. Dylan Rudd is second. Dylan Pereira is third. Then daylight to Chadwick, Court, Morris. Leonage, Dyke, Morris, I should say. So just having a look at all that, the top 8 is separated by 11.6. The top 3 separated by 1.7. They're the facts, they're the stats after 49 minutes of racing. Now, what's important to note here is that there's still 13 laps to go. So, I mean, take from that what you will. It's close enough to 20 minutes of racing still left over here. And what's even more important, Chris Kisby, the Kookaburras are heading to a gold medal match. They've got a 3-1 lead with a minute and a half to go against the Germans in Tokyo in the men's hockey. So they are going to the gold medal match, which is great news for the Kookaburras.
I was so interested on the battle on our screen that I'd missed that, and I just picked up the replay. So I'm glad you told me, mate.
Well, it was only as I glanced right to have a look at the timing screen. So well positioned is my television to pick that up. Ben Morris now all over the back here of Jamie Dyke. But in the meantime, let's go back and have a look at this battle, if you don't mind. So this is interesting because the 6:05, which is Matthew Scholes, is under tremendous pressure from Aaron Dodd. Dodd has gained 17 positions from a pit lane penalty, and has obviously the safety car did him a bit of justice, but he's gained 17 positions. It's about to be 18. He's going to move up into 11th. He's a real chance of a top 10 all of a sudden.
It is.
David Kirby's unmuted his microphone and has joined us in the booth. So it was interesting because... sorry, I completely forgot about that because I dragged David Kirby in, but he was on mute, and I thought, okay, I'll see when he unmutes himself. Didn't even see it, mate. Oh no! Dean Powell has had a big moment and lost the rear of the car. The NTS replay. Let's have a look at this. This is coming through turn 1 and 2. This is going to be a big clout.
Oh, look at that.
Slide. Gone.
Yep.
Bang.
Thanks for coming.
Head up the other side.
No, we can't. Not at all. Hey, David Kirby, thanks for joining us, mate. Talk us through what happened, because there were two moments, but it was one of them that triggered the safety car.
Oh,
yeah, sorry, I was just watching that around there.
Oh, gee. All I could see was a head-on coming.
You're right there, Kisby? You okay?
I tell you,
Extraordinary.
now I don't know about you, but if I was in race control, that would have to be something on a rejoin. You'd have to look at that for a bad rejoin. Oh man.
Yeah, sorry, Zach. Yeah, get back. Yeah, a couple of moments. I missed my braking mark at lap 2. Clouded the wall at lap turn 11, I think it is. And then 5 minutes of repairs, and then yeah, going into turn 3, the motor just decided to give up the ghost on me, unfortunately.
That would explain it, because we saw you pull up and just sit there, and we weren't quite sure
Why you couldn't
what
get
was going on. But yeah, guess we didn't see any engine smoke or anything like that billowing out of the car. But obviously that's what triggered the safety car, and that's why your night is done prematurely. Got to be frustrating, mate.
Yeah. Oh, look, it is. 2 weeks of qualifying quite well. Last week, obviously, got tangled up with the lap 1 incident, but and soldiered on. Ended up blowing the motor there again.
Oh, here we go.
Been struggling to get back to the lane by the looks of it.
Oh, at least he flicked it round this time with no cars coming.
But look, a bit of a shame. Another good qualifying tonight, and then but tonight was all me, my own error. But look, it is what it is. It's this is exciting watching this though. I get to sit back and enjoy the nice racing.
Yeah. I just had a message through from Cameron Jones, Zach.
Jacob Brewer's had a big one. Jacob Brewer's in trouble. Look at that. Oh, geez, get it out of there. There's
another one.
Yeah, that was a tricky rejoin.
It's so easy to do it there, though.
And it's
so
maybe
easy.
one that race control might have a look at. But yeah, you're right, David Kirby. Because of the blind nature of the corners of this circuit, he wouldn't have known who was coming, and he would have just been thinking, "I need to get the bloody thing out of here."
Yeah.
Yeah, but your relative helps you out there. Tells you how far they are away, and it's what we're always saying is to check your relative, and it's something that it's very dangerous trying to flick spin, because you may lose it coming through and just slide it straight into another car. But as I was just about to say there, I've had a message from Cameron saying sorry to let you down, mate. So don't worry about that, mate. I was absolutely enthralled with the first half of your race. You had an absolute brilliant start there, but you haven't let anyone down. You gave it all you had, and that's all we can ask. So come back next week for a great one. Thanks for the message, Cameron.
Yeah, absolutely. Bad luck to Cameron Jones, but I mean, what do you do? I mean,
Yeah.
we've got David Kirby in here. He's just one of many casualties tonight. Chrisdale, Jones, Hayden Norris also appears to be out of business. And then there are a host of cars a few laps down. Mitch Campbell, Kai Turner, Lindsay Hobbs, Jacob Brewer, Ash Davis, Dean Powell, all in pit lane at the moment. Power's been in there for a good while and probably will be in there for a little bit longer. In all of that, Sean McNamara looks like he's going to have a stroke of luck tonight for a change. We've been waiting for him to have some good luck this season.
Yes, that's
and
true.
It looks like he's going to join the winners list. David Kirby, we're halfway through the season, mate. That's now round 7. Only 5 rounds to go. Long way back. What are you hoping to salvage over the next 5 weeks, please?
Well, if the last 2 weeks there's anything to go by, I just want to finish.
Yeah, that's a fair. Yep.
I know the feeling, mate.
Yeah, it's look, it is like come in tonight, feeling pretty good. The split qualifying, like to me, I feel is working really well. Aaron Dodd's all over. Brennan and Dawn.
Thanks for coming. See you on the next
Just
round.
just on Aaron too. Just have a look at the timing. He's basically the fastest car in the field
Oh, yeah.
by a long way. Like, that last lap at 31, and he was in front of the field by a long way.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, we look at the season so far, and the ebbs and flows, the twists and turns. Rainer Costello's absence from the series, that's huge. Dylan Rudd having such a big lead in the championship, also huge. Aaron Dodd being hit and miss in the results department. There's so many different tales to the narrative here, Chris Kisby.
Oh, there certainly is. And I mean, I can feel for David because in my first 4 rounds in the championship of iRacing, I've been taken out on every occasion and beat one of the fastest cars. So I can feel for you as being in that sort of position. But what excellent racing. I mean, I say it every single week, Zach, and I'll say it every week until we finish. Watching these guys teaches you so much. And you can't be anything but impressed by watching the guys put these cars around these difficult tracks.
Indeed. So 7 laps to go next time by the line. The Aussies will play Belgium on Thursday night for gold in the men's hockey. I can confirm that for you, folks. Water polo underway at the moment as well. The girls in the quarterfinals there. The beach volleyball still to come, and the boomers coming up a little bit later on as well. So there's so much to be excited about for our team sports in Tokyo. We'll keep you abreast of all that before we wrap things up here tonight. Right here and now, have a look at this. Alex Court and Simon Chadwick. Now, just having a look at the margins here, boys, and David Kirby, it'll be great to have him stick around and get some insight from him as the race unfolds here. Dylan Rudd is a second off McNamara. So the team are 1 and 2. They've gapped Dylan Pereira, who's 3 seconds behind, but then it's 4.5 seconds back to this battle. So I think I'm right in saying that the podium, as long as they keep it on the black stuff, that's looking pretty well solid right now. 1, 2, and 3, 951, 990, and 61. They're pretty well locked and sealed and home and done, as long as they've got the right fuel load. Chadwick and Court is the first positional battle on track. Then you got to go down to Aaron Dodd and Craig Schultz. Aaron Dodd, have a look at that. Up on the inside of Craig Schultz and into 9th position. Up 20 positions. Aaron Dodd is up inside the top 10. Next target, 4 seconds down the road, is Ben Morris. Have a look at this. Got the job done easily on Craig Schultz.
The driver is this. Look, he's had to start. He started at the rear of the grid. Comes down through the inside there. He starts at the rear of the grid. Makes his way up 8 positions. Gets a black flag for starting at the rear of the grid. Does his drive through, and now he's back up to P9. How good a driver coming through traffic is that?
Oh, it's a superb drive.
Unfortunately, he's in a Lion car, but you cannot. You've got to sit there and give credit where credit's due.
Best looking cars on track, Bisbee. Come on.
Look, give it to me all you like. I am as blue as blue. But as I said, you've got to give credit where credit's due. And I mean, I even used to give credit to the great man, the king of the mountain. And even though he drove in that...
this is very true, yeah.
But you've got to give credit. The calibre of the driver is what really out. Here we go. Right,
here we go. Alex Court has a good run here. Yep. Down on the inside of Chadwick, but he's not close enough at this point in time. He wants to have a look anyway. Here we go. No, he backs out of it, rightly so, because that could have been an incident waiting to happen.
Very lucky not to pinch brake.
In behind them as well. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right, David Kirby. As someone that's driven the circuit tonight, I mean, the bumps, the margin for error is very minimal here, but there are so many things that can bring you undone.
So how often would you change the brake bias here, David?
A fair bit. Here we go. Inside.
Has he pinched it?
Oh, jeez. He made it work. I want to have a look at the replay again on the NTS replay. Let's have a look at this. This is huge. Massive send. Did he make it work cleanly? That'll be all that race control will look at. If he did, game on, play on. Great slipstream, great run down the inside. He'll use a lot of this ripple strip, I'd say.
There's no
Have a look at the slow-mo. Have a look at the slow-mo. And, a little bit of a touch. But he's right there. He was all the way up the inside. Oh, that was the hit. That was the hit. I knew there was a hit from the onboard. It was Chadwick going into the tyre wall on the exit of that corner. Now, whether race control will deem
race controller last night.
Whether race control will deem that to be as a result of the contact with Court on the inside or not, I don't know. However, it's something they'll look at, I'm sure. That being said, it doesn't seem to have affected Chadwick too much. He now runs 6th. Jamie Dyke right behind him. Rehan Leonage got through as a result of that moment. So Alex Court and Rehan Leonage up there, 4th and 5th now. Top 3 solid, top 4, 5, 6, 7. 4, 5, 6, 7. That battle there, that 4-way fight, that 4-way train that you're having a look at the moment, that's where all eyes are at this point in time. Lap 39 and 43, 5 to go. Great to have you covered Tuesday Night Motorsport on the platforms of SimShed, broadcasting round 7 of the RSRA Super Series, round 2 of the DSL Welding Triple Crown. We are at the Grand Prix of Belle Isle circuit in Detroit, Michigan. It has been, it has just been fantastic.
Mate, it's a red avalanche. Look at this.
Come
on.
I don't mind jumping in there.
Go
Just keeping an eye on Aaron Dodd. He is now 2.5 seconds behind Ben Morris, so still fastest car on track, and he's good for P8 here, I think, in the upcoming laps.
He's coming up behind Morris there, so he's going to be hard to keep out. As I said, credit where credit's due. The way this guy drives and puts this car around the track is just unbelievable. I'll be looking at the replay. I'll be saving this replay and I'll be going into cockpit view just to see how some of these drivers do it. And I do it every week with the V8s because I have been racing the V8s on a Thursday night lately. And just to see how the cars are being handled by these drivers. I saved the replay from tonight because I watch it through iRacing and through the Discord channel, and just get an idea of how they're handling it there. But oh mate, you guys are unbelievable.
I'll give you a tip: don't go into my car. So Aaron's now under a second on Ben, so I reckon the next lap here he's going to move up. And what a drive! That's going to be like up 21 spots if he can get it done cleanly.
Now, what's also important tonight, David Kirby, and it's something, I mean, we have been referencing the Olympics right throughout the evening. How's your teammate Michael Angus going? How much liaising has he done with the athletes over there in Tokyo, mate?
Quite a fair bit, actually. Talk to him on a daily about it all. So, obviously, he's heavily involved in the athletics side of things, in the track and field. So, there's some real medal chances still to come. I believe you did mention earlier, Curtis is in the pole vault. Should be good for a medal. Sent him a message. I'm still waiting on a reply.
Some of the effort from some of these athletes over there, they haven't finished where they wanted to, but and they say, what really heartbreaks me is they sit there and you see them on camera and they're saying,
here we go, Aaron Dodd.
Here we go, hang on, I'll get back onto that in a minute.
Aaron Dodd has wasted no time at all in mucking around and getting by Benny Morris. He goes up on the outside to try and get that switch back. Can he get the up and under? Whoa, big sliding sideways moment from Morris. Nearly took the front of Dodd off. And Dodd somehow was able to take evasive action. That was a big moment.
Okay, so they're going to have to cool their rears now because I think they're going to have a bit of temp. So they just need to settle here, but I think Dodd will get him at the end of the straight, if not next lap. Get a dive.
No, he shouldn't do.
Not with lighting up the rears like they both did and getting a bit of extra temp in the tyres. Give them half a lap to cool them down again, and the grip will come back.
So lap 41 is 43, so we're getting to the closing stages here. McNamara, Rudd, Pereira, Court, Leonage.
Bit of a knock. Hello, I'm here.
Yeah,
exactly.
Let him know. I'm in your mirrors.
This is
Triple
for 8. Oh no, Alex Court
on 957. Yeah, he did, and that's.
However, it's going to be viewed. It's going to be viewed as a racing incident. That said, racing incident at the top of the screen. So therefore, play on. They're fair. Keep going. Alex Court. It's viewed as a racing incident. He's contact on Simon Chadwick on the 957 racing incident. caught lives to fight another day. Chadwick's got by Leonage on that note. So
Here
Chadwick
we
back
go.
into 5th and Leonage back to 6th.
Oh.
Got all over the back of Morris and then having to take more evasive action. In fact, look at this. Todd's in a sandwich here. He's got Morris and Schultz either side of him and trying to find a way through. He's got no help here.
Forward really wide.
Have a look at this. Morris.
Don't do it, Aaron. Don't kiss him. Don't give him the kiss of death.
Aaron
Going.
Dodd on the outside now. Can he switch it back for the inside? No. Morris holds sway for the moment. But this is
Covering.
the battle for 8th. In fact, some of these battles are really intensifying late in the piece.
Ugh.
For instance, Dylan Rudd's now within 0.2 of a second of the race leader. Have a look at that.
There we
Race
go.
leader,
Chadwick's
Sean
got
McNamara,
past Leonage.
last lap board, and Dylan Rudd's right there with Sean McNamara. McNamara's going to lead this thing home unless Dylan Rudd has something to say about it on the last lap. Now, I wouldn't assume there'll be team orders here.
No. Yeah.
It'll be a form finish, if anything else, because at the end of the day, McNamara, I mean, he's out of contention, but the win will be, you know, a confidence booster. And Rudd, a second does him just fine because he's 93 points clear in the
Yeah.
championship.
Got
Look at this!
Got him.
Aaron Dodd!
Got him.
Moving the night through 1 and 2. On the outside in 1, on the inside for 2, he gets the job done. Ah,
Yeah. We see
magnificent.
that one on replay.
Elbows out, get it up there. Have a look at that. Good stuff. Now, down to the last sector of the lap. The race finish is
White
upon
flag.
us. And this has been a magnificent performance from Sean McNamara. Didn't get the greatest start, but he's going to convert pole position into a race win on the streets of Detroit and finally get himself back in the winner's circle in the RSRA Super Series. The run to the checkered flag. McNamara and Rudd, 9-5 Sim Sport, 1-2 in the Motor City. What a performance this has been. The 9-5-1 of Sean McNamara back in victory lane in the RSRA Super Series. He wins round 2 of the DSL Welding Triple Crown. McNamara wins in grand style the pole and win double on a Tuesday night. And there'll be a big smile on his face right now.
Wow, what a race.
Marvelous
And
performance.
It's still not finished with the back markers as well coming through, and there's battles, as we know, all the way down through the pack there. Well done, Sean McNamara.
What a finish.
So we're going to have a look at Aaron Dodd passing Ben Morris. Comes down the outside. Ben's got to brake a lot harder. And, ooh, look at that, holding the line through. As you can see, Ben's on the, and he's got to allow racing room. He's at the B pillar. He's got to allow racing room coming through there, so he had to back off. Nice move. Really nice move.
Brilliant race. This brilliant performance from McNamara. Got the better of Rudd and Dylan Pereira. That was a nice run. Alex Court finally gets the top 5 finish again after a couple of weeks off the podium. Simon Chadwick in 5th. Rehan Leonage, another good showing from the young bloke in for 6th. Then you go back to Jamie Dyke, Aaron Dodd, Craig Schultz and Ben Morris, the top 10. Brenton Nitschke, 11th. Then Matthew Scholes, Peter Crossingham, Dean Reddit and Brian Cooper made up the top 15. As we usually do, we'll crank up the volume. We'll watch McNamara light them up and celebrate victory here. As is his right to do so. He'll bring it round onto the main straight and light it up in the Motor City. What a magnificent performance. Lead all the way. He just led when it counted, and that included getting by his teammate Dylan Rudd when Rudd got unstuck. And that was all because of having nowhere to go in the incident with Cameron Jones. Light him up, Sean. Celebrate, mate.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no. you kidding me? That was Dylan Rudd a few weeks ago.
That's right.
Aaron Dodd this time. Aaron Dodd will therefore, if that's the case, slip down to 11. It's like the most difficult game of the night.
Come on, Sean, you're not supposed to use the wall.
And to think as well, here's the results for you, the unofficial results for the DSL Welding Triple Crown. McNamara from Rudd, Pereira caught Chadwick. There were only 3 Fords in the top 10 tonight. We are going to miss Rainer, don't worry about that. Leonage in for 6th. Dyke, Dodd, Schultz, Morris the top 10, but if Dodd hasn't been able to make it back, he'll move to 11th. Brendan Mitchell will go up into the top 10. Scholes will be 12, Crossingham, Reddick, Cooper, Dawson, and then Alessi Noble, the top 18, all on the lead. Barnes and Davis made up the top 20. Kisby, run through the rest of the field for me.
Mitch Campbell, Kai Turner, Jacob Brewer, Lindsay Hobbs, Dean Powell, Hayden Norris, Cameron Jones, Robert Christelle, David Kirby, and Lee Davis is the pace car. So you've got those there. A couple of retirements down the bottom there, namely our co-commentator, special guest here, David Kirby, with an engine blown, and Cameron Jones with a bit of problems there throughout the race.
Now, it looks like the end of the road is near for the water polo girls, unfortunately, folks, because they trail 7-9, 9-7. The Russian Olympic Committee leading them at the moment with 1:01 to play in the 4th quarter. So for the girls, it looks like their day might be done, unfortunately. Now, just having a look at all of that, everyone down to Lindsay Hobbs has completed more than 75% of the race. So that might mean something with regards to championship points. But in the meantime, we'll get our race winners in here very shortly. We'll have a chat to Sean McNamara, Dylan Rudd, and Dylan Pereira. For the benefit of our Western Australian viewers, I've got some news related to motorsport that I'm going to drop at the end of the broadcast, but due to the time difference, you won't have seen it just yet. So I will ask you to leave the broadcast about 30 seconds before everyone else does. At the end of the night. And so when we get closer to 10:30, Western Australian viewers are going to queue to go, and everyone else, well, yeah, I'll have some motorsport news for you. In the meantime, here comes Dylan Pereira into the booth, and a couple of others as well will join him in just a moment, namely Dylan Rudd and Sean McNamara. Okay. Aaron Dodd out of fuel, so he'll lose 3 spots. And Ben Morris is going to be investigated as well. Intentional contact on the cooldown lap.
Ooh.
Yeah, righto. So we'll have. I don't know if we've got footage of the incident that's being investigated and we can have a look at it. But if not, then obviously we'll have to just find out what's happened post-race and what the stewards decide to do with regards to that. But that being said, David Kirby, at the end of the day, you know this yourself. Getting an in-race discretion is one thing. Earning yourself a penalty on the cooldown. On the cooldown lap is quite another if that is the case. Have a look. This is it apparently. It's the checkered flag. So we'll follow this through for you folks. It's the checkered flag. This is what's happening. And we're back to Ben Morris. So Ben Morris is one that checkered flag. interested to see what race control have to say about that one. I won't say anything more than that at this point in time, but David is one of the drivers here and an expert in this field. You can have an opinion.
Oh, look, I just looked at it from the onboard. It doesn't look good, but look, race control, I'm sure we'll be looking at that, and if there's a penalty will be served.
Indeed, it will be. And although that being said, you know, they can either dish out a penalty tonight or carry it over to next week, depending upon how severe they want
Look,
to go.
if it's going to be a penalty, it's going to be a big one. So yeah, I wouldn't like to be on the receiving end of it if one is to be given out, but we never want to see that, whether in race or post race. So.
Well, yeah, I was going to say post-race. I mean, in-race, when the red mist descends and everything else, so I can understand in-race penalties, but post-race, geez. That being said, if you're just joining us, Sean McNamara's got his first win of the year. He's in the booth alongside the two Dylans, Rudd and Pereira. A 1-2 for the team, Sean McNamara, and finally something going your way this season, mate. Well done.
Yeah, thank you, mate. It's nice to have, I think, what could be called a perfect round. I think I got the 0 as well. So, yep. So, yeah, it's a nice way to bounce back. I was pretty frustrated after last week, and it was nice to... I was very, very eager to get the Belle and get into it. So, yeah, really happy. Didn't have a lot of pace early on, but settled down. It's unfortunate for Dylan, had a bit of damage there. And, yeah, great team result.
It was a fantastic performance from you. And as you said, the double, the triple, pole, clean race, win. Sure, you don't get most positions gained or anything like that, but you get the 3 that count. So it's definite round win for you. I mean, what a fight from you though in the opening stages there, because you got pipped at the start. The 2 that started immediately behind you, including young Dylan Pereira here, who will chat to us in just a moment. He started alongside you. He got a better jump than you. Cameron Jones got an absolute blinder. So you and Dylan were left in there to fight for the minor placings in all of that, but you slowly but surely chipped your way forward, and in the end, you're the one that's laughing at the end of 43 laps.
Indeed. Yeah, spot on. It was, I had a terrible start. Initial launch was really good, and I got a little bit eager because I saw Dylan. I think he got a little bit of wheel spin, and Pereira, that is. And I thought, oh, hang on a second, I can get on the throttle and get going. And as soon as I went to go a little bit right, it just lit him up, and came from nowhere. So he had a great one. And yeah, that first stint was just really trying to save fuel, and then I had a bit of a slide, and it cooked the rears in these things. And so Dylan jumped by there, and really it was then just conservation mode until I could get on a new set of tyres, because it just didn't have any grip. So yeah, that was what it was. It was just unfortunate for Cam as well. He was pushing pretty hard and locking a few brakes here and there, and yeah, just into that turn, call it 8, into that little right-hander, just locked the brake, and then he went. So it was unfortunate for him, and that bounced back into Dylan Rudd. So it's yeah, really good run. Happy, and Triple Crown points. I can't even remember where I ended up at Watkins Glen, to be honest with you, but yeah, pretty good for the Triple Crown.
Absolutely, and of course, given the absence of Rainer Costello for the rest of the season, it threw open not only the main championship, which Dylan leads in you know, by a country mile at the moment, but also the Triple Crown. So, I mean, if you can't get one, you may as well get the other. The two of you could lock it out yet.
Fingers crossed, yeah. It'd be a nice similar thing last season. Once those first couple of rounds went to Custard, I turned around and focused on the Triple Crown. So, yeah, looking forward to rest of the season, and well, we got Red Bull next week, and feeling pretty good there too, so should be good.
Indeed, of course, that's the new track on the iRacing server. I saw it in action last night in GT3. Looking forward to seeing it next week for the supercars. Sean, stay there. I'll come back to you in just a moment. Dylan Rudd, grueling night at the office, mate. In the end, at second. It's a case of what might have been. How much damage were you battling with in the closing laps there after having nowhere to go when Cameron Jones went round? Have we got Dylan?
Yeah, okay. Initially,
yeah,
initially it wasn't too bad, but I think as that stint went on, it was about 3/10 down each straight, which was pretty bad. But I think once I pitted, I did about 3-4 seconds of my 40-second repair time, and I think it actually helped fix the engine a little bit, because it wasn't as bad down the straights, but yeah, still was hurting a little bit. But yeah.
Indeed, and up until that point, mate, it was going nicely. The race, it was just a case of follow the leader and wait for your moment. Unfortunately, the moment never came because Jonesy's just ended up in the wall doing a number on himself, and that's obviously what ended up allowing Sean by in the battle for the lead there. Unfortunately for you, though, it's a case of what might have been because, as I mentioned in the commentary, mate, for most of the season, when you look at the form guide, you look at the pace, it's been you, Rayner, Aaron, Daylight. Tonight, you're the, well, obviously we know Rayner's gone for the season. We knew Aaron started at the back of the grid. So it was a case of you, and then you had this almighty fight on your hands from a couple of the guys that were prominent up there at the pointy end in season 1.
Yeah, it was definitely a good battle. It's just not one of my strongest tracks, but did the best I could. Didn't maximize in qualifying, struggled a bit, but yeah, in the race, unfortunately, when Cam made that mistake, didn't really have anywhere to go, so yeah, got damaged, and then just see Sean got by, and then just tried to stay with him, knowing that didn't really have the pace in that the first stint, but the second stint I kind of stayed with our second back, but couldn't do much with it. So.
Indeed. No, grueling 43 laps, though. I mean, you think about last week, that was a grueling challenge for so many reasons because it being a new circuit and being a concrete canyon. This Belle Isle Detroit circuit, such a hard slog, isn't it?
Yeah, Chicago was definitely something different, much tighter. Where this one a little bit more open, but still the same risks on concrete balls on either side.
Just confirming at this point in time, too, folks. Well, the Boomers in Argentina are on the court ready to go for the quarterfinal in the basketball. So score updates from that as we go here up until 10:30. McNamara, Pereira, Dyke, Schultz, Nitschke, Scholes, Crossingham, and Alacy all had clean races. So they all get the bonus points that go with the clean race bonus. Jones a DNF tonight, so 0 points for Cameron. So, yeah, some big numbers in all of that. Obviously, with McNamara scoring the clean race there, that really does him a great degree of justice. And I'll come back to Sean in that in just a moment. But for you, Dylan, obviously a little bit disappointing that you couldn't get the clean race. We know why. It means you'll be third for the round behind Dylan Pereira. But in saying all of that, where's your focus at the moment? Where's your mind at? Because at the end of the day, you had a 97-point lead coming into this round. I believe you'll have extended it tonight, depending upon the results of those around you in the championship. Where's your mindset at in terms of how you attack the rest of the season, knowing that you've got such a strong advantage, knowing that there's no drop rounds, knowing that all points count?
I was trying to keep pushing for race wins and podiums each round, and obviously trying to get those bonus points. Wouldn't mind trying to, obviously, championships obviously the main goal. I've got a good healthy lead in that at the moment, so try and have a crack at the triple crown while I've got a good lead in the championship.
Indeed. No, you're doing a very nice job there, mate. Sean, how'd you find I mean, obviously, at the front of the field, you only had to contend with lap traffic there towards the back end of the race because the safety car bunched the field up nice and early. But how was the rest of the night for you? How grueling did you find the challenge?
It was tough. I've got some weird screen stutter issues at this track at the moment. So the first half of it was like I was having an epileptic fit, to be honest with you. But I love Belle Isle. It's a rhythm track, and I know it's a street circuit and it's tough, but as I've been saying to the boys all week, I love this track, and I found it pretty smooth sailing, really. A couple of little mistakes I made, but all in all, good fun, and used the walls and got those 0 times wherever I could, and yeah, it was all good.
1 hour, 8 minutes and 41 seconds, the race winning time tonight. 1 hour, 8:41.365. Not a bad night at the office, and in the end, we only got one safety car. I think we were all probably expecting 2 on this circuit, to be honest with you, but we got 1. And that wasn't too bad. at all. Let me bring in David Kirby's still here, so if he wants to throw any questions the way of you boys, I'll let him in a moment. Same with Chris Kisby. In the meantime, Dylan Pereira, let me bring you in, because that's a great result for you. Sure, second on the grid, third in the race. It was always going to be hard to go with the 9.5 Sim Sport boys, though, over a course of 43 laps. And in the end, you've ended up 9 seconds away from them. So they did pull clear in the closing laps, but by gee, you kept them honest for such a long way.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. I think pretty much yeah, congrats to Sean and doing on a great race. Yeah, really happy to be on the podium. Fortunate to get the place with Cam making a mistake, but yeah, we'll take it.
Indeed. No, very well done. What about your plan of attack throughout that course, the course of that race there? Because the safety car threw the cat amongst the pigeons. It came at the right time in one sense, because we were sitting here crunching the numbers, and we thought 2 15-lap stints and a 13 gets you home, and blow me down, the safety car came at the end of lap 13. So it came at just the right moment, didn't it?
Yeah, it certainly did. So I think everyone came in for a pit stop, and then I think most people probably took tyres in the second pit stop. I think I pitted before the lead cars, and that gave me a bit of a outlap on fresh tyres, but it couldn't quite nail all the sectors, and it was pretty close with Dylan and Sean coming out.
Indeed. And just talking through the process, I mean, you had Cameron Jones, you had Ben Morris giving a good run there for such a long time as well. So in the end, you've ended up with Alex Court closest to you on the racetrack, but he wasn't close enough to really prove too much of a challenge. So how did you deal with that last few laps, knowing that the pressure was off you, so to speak, and you only had to try and get the thing to the finish line?
Yeah, this one's pretty embarrassing to admit, but the last 10 laps I had toe cramps, which I was trying to stretch out between corners, and I was pretty confident I was going to bin it, so pretty happy that I didn't. Had a bit of a gap behind me to Alex, so yeah, lucky to keep holding that till the end of the race.
Toe cramps. That's one I've never heard before, but
Not
the
recommended.
first time for everything. Not recommended at all. It doesn't sound
It's a real
prevalent
thing.
in the slightest. But David Kirby confirms that it's a real. No, but again, I mean, this is the thing, David Kirby. This is where I'll bring you in, mate. It's one of those situations, isn't it? We talk all the time about how grueling this can be for you guys, especially when you get to the end of the year and you're in the cockpit for, somewhere between 3 and 4 hours, and your co-driver does the other 2 when we're running the Bathurst 1000. For anyone that doesn't think this can start to, wear you down physically, you've only got to listen to something like that from Dylan, where he says toe cramps, and I'm sure he's not alone. There's other ways in which people suffer the longer they sit in the rig.
Oh yeah, of course. I've gotten out of the rig after an endurance and stuff, and you go to bed or whatever that night, and then your left leg, from obviously with the amount of pressure you're putting on a brake pedal for a long time and everything, you end up getting cramps and everything. So we don't have the physical side, obviously, as the real life drivers do, like the G-forces and all that. But I think any of these boys here will say, we've all got high-end pedals, so you're looking at 40 to 60, some 80 kilos of pressure to get full brake. So
I'm on low-end pedals and I cramp up, mate, so don't worry about it.
But if Ford doesn't take that much brake to slow down.
Ooh, fighting word.
Shots fired.
Shots
So
fired.
yeah, look, it is what it is, and you do get cramps, and I sympathise with Dylan there, but mate, you drove a great race, and Sean and Dylan there, you guys were noticed the tail through that back half, and unfortunately, Dylan obviously had that damage, but mate, you all drove a great race, and it was unfortunate that I was sitting out watching, but you can thank me for that well-timed safety car.
Oh, wow.
Perfect. Perfect. Just quickly, if I can just quickly say too,
Yeah, go, Sean.
Dylan Pereira, mate, this season just coming on stronger and stronger as well. I even said
Absolutely.
to the boys, I said to the
Exactly.
boys during the week, I said Dylan will be one to watch this week. I think he'll be quick in quali, and if he can put his race there, it'll be good. So just want to say to him, well done, mate. You're doing well, and keep chipping away at it. You'll get that win.
Yeah, thanks, Shawnee. Happy to play around with you guys in the big league.
It's good, mate.
But and that's the thing as well, Dylan. I mean, the step up, playing with the guys at the top end of town, pushing them all the way. You must take a great degree of confidence out of something like that, and comments like that as well, going forward with 5 rounds left in the season. Is a win in the offing at some point in the next 5 weeks?
Oh, I think D-Rod, Sean, and those guys are probably a little bit of a level ahead, but so we'll keep chipping away. But it gives me good confidence. And first thing was to not ruin anyone's races coming into the big league, racing clean, and then work on pace after that.
Indeed. All right, let's press forward here. Chris Kisby and David Kirby, I'm going to open the floor to you guys now. Anything you want to ask these guys?
I'm all done out. I will say that I was going to give Sean a 2 out of 10 for his after race burnout when I saw him use the wall to do it. But then I watched him do it first up, and he passed there. So well done.
Thank God for that.
Don't worry about the race. It was the burnout at the end. Great racing from you all. I actually enjoyed it. As I said, I've saved this one. I'm going to watch you guys because I know we'll be racing here in the not too distant future. So I'll be watching to see how you do it and learn, I hope. So great racing from you all.
Yeah, Sean, congratulations on getting a well-deserved win for a bit of a slow start to the season yet again, but a few incidents along the way. But no, it was good to see you bounce back, especially after last week. So well done, Matt.
Yeah, thank you, mate. It's been a bit of a tough season, but nice to get one back and the pointy end of the 9-5 team.
Just want to make sure Aaron's got a fuel calculator there for next week.
You're correct, mate. I think you're right. He needs a calculator.
Well, hang on. Let's just grab a little bit of control back here, because at the same point, so 2 things. Race controller deliberating on the Ben Morris incident at the moment. We'll hopefully have a result from that before we go off air tonight. If we don't, there'll be more on that next week. In the meantime, second thing, there's something about those fuel calculators so far this season, Sean McNamara. As David said, it's Aaron that needs the fuel calculator tonight, and Dylan Rudd knows all too well what that experience feels like earlier in the season.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and that's part of the reason why the boys enjoy running this series as well, is that you've got to get that cool lap done. And obviously, I'll take the blame for the boys tonight around some qualifying issues. And Dylan, Aaron jumped out in that first session, and that cost him, and that was really my fault. So sorry about that to Mr. Dodd. But fuel numbers, I think he was pushing pretty hard and burning more than he thought he would. But and look, Chadwick was. He was close as well at the end there. He was, I think he had 0.7 of a litre to finish his cool-down lap. So, we probably need to open up that window a bit.
All right. Thoughts on that, Dylan Rudd and Dylan Pereira and David Kirby? No
You
comment
go,
from
Dyl.
anybody. Okay. Anyone want to have a crack?
Oh, look, the fuel, it's, as Sean said, it's fuel. You've got to watch your fuel the entire race. We use software that tells us how much we're going to have left at the end and everything as well, and it also appears up on our dash and everything as well. So you've got to watch it. You've got to watch your fuel burn, and you've got to save early so you can push at the end. So you sacrifice a little bit of track time at the start. But as everybody, if the others around you don't do that, they're going to be fuel saving at the end. And especially in our series, where predominantly you're coming into that last stint with fresh tyres, if they have to fuel save, but you've already done the fuel save, you can easily jump a couple of spots there to finish off.
Okay, breaking news from Race Control. Ben Morris, the number 43, has been hit with the 1 race ban for deliberate post-race contact on car 737. That is breaking news right now as we bring it to you. straight from race control to my inbox. Ben Morris has been hit with a runaway span for that incident on the cool-down lap. So it's a little bit of a subdued feeling to end the night, but not for the top three here. Sean McNamara, Dylan Rudd, and Dylan Pereira, who have got the top three positions tonight. Alex Court, Simon Chadwick, Rehan Leonage, Jamie Dyke, Aaron Dodd, Craig Schultz, and Ben Morris were your top 10. Dodd, of course, slips back to 11th because of the fact that he ran out of fuel on the cooldown lap. So therefore, Craig Schultz goes 8th. Ben Morris will keep 9th, but he'll sit out next week. And Brenton Nitschke comes home in 10th. Wow.
You said it was going to be harsh.
Yeah, we did. Yep, absolutely. So we press our way forward here because there's still a little bit to chat about. Obviously, tyre strategy is always one thing we talk about, boys, week to week. Sean, was it second stop for the fresh set?
Yeah, definitely, mate. Especially with that safety car coming out, probably a few laps before the window opened up. It just would have been too long to try and double stint that. So, yeah, definitely second stop.
Do you find much difference between the concrete and the bitumen?
Yeah, you feel it through the steering wheel. I can't say there's that much of a grip change as such, but yeah, certainly when you load up on the concrete, steering wheel gets a bit heavier, especially on fresh tyres. But I think as the tyres go off, you probably lose a little bit of grip on the concrete.
Yeah, I'll tell my feet that next time I'm racing there.
But yeah, certainly on new boots, it's pretty consistent across the whole run.
All right. Let's have a look at the boys. Stay there because I'll get your thoughts on Red Bull Ring and a couple of other factors before we go tonight. But firstly, let's have a look at the championship points and then the Triple Crown points as well. At the end of round 7 of the championship. So that's the DSL Welding Triple Crown unofficial results as far as the round is concerned and how it reflects in the outright championship. After 7 of 12, Dylan Rudd now with a 113-point lead. So, as I said, he didn't need to win tonight to extend the championship advantage. It was 93. It's now 113. We'll ask him how he feels about that in just a moment. And bearing in mind, too, folks, the way this plays out, I mean, sure, Rehan Leonage, Dylan Pereira are in the top 10 tonight, Jamie Dyke as well. But no one else there a real threat to Dylan Rudd at the outright end of town at the top end of the rostrum. So therefore, he's a real chance, and I don't want to put the mocker on him, but he's a real chance of having enough points in the bag in the next 4 weeks.
Go for it. Just do
Yeah,
it.
in the next 4 weeks to wrap this up before we get to round 12, and that would be huge. Matthew Scholes, 934, has just 3 points over Rehan Leonage, and then Dylan Pereira on 906, Jamie Dyke, 890, 888 for Peter Crossingham, 873 for Dean Reddit, 837 for Mitch Campbell. Then we go back to Dean Alessi on 835 and Alan Dawson on 823. Over the page. Alex Court on 815, so he's moved up tonight. Brian Cooper, 807, 798 for Lindsay Hobbs, 795 for Chadwick, 793 for Schultz, 777 for Aaron Dodd, and then Sam Noble 40 points further back, and then Rod Hollis on 705, Chris Barnes 678, and Sean McNamara now into the top 20 on 663. Brendan Nitschke, Hayden Norris, another DNF really hurts Cameron Jones. Ben Morris was going to miss another race, so he won't move from 623. Rick Sibra, Dean Power, Ash Davis, Michael Angus, David Kirby, and Craig Newell.
I'd help you out, mate, but I've lost the feed.
That's all right, all good. Robert Chrisdale, Jacob Brewer, Kai Turner, Nathan Brown, and then that's it for the moment. So Rainer Costello obviously not appearing there. He's been removed from the point standings because he's not going to factor any further part in the season, unfortunately, due to he's banned from iRacing, not the series. So it's a different ban to what Benny Morris has copped tonight. I just want to clarify. As far as the DSL Welding Triple Crown is concerned, let's have a look at that now. And we can tell you that it looks good for Sean McNamara. He got the result for the round with 160 points over Dylan Pereira, 151, and Dylan Rudd, 148. Alex Court, 144, and Jamie Dyke, 143. Simon Chadwick, Craig Schultz, Rehan Leonage, Brenton Nitschke, and Ben Morris made up the top 10 now. How does that relate when you combine what happened at Watkins Glen and what happened here? We'll find out. But in the meantime, Matthew Scholes, Peter Crossingham, Aaron Dodd, Dean Reddit, Dean Alesti, etc., and so forth, all the way down. in the end, I think it was 24 points scorers in the race tonight. 24 drivers picking up. Yeah, Lindsay Hobbs the last to pick up points tonight. So a lot of non-point scorers: Jones, Newell, Kirby, Powell, Norris rather, and yeah. So how does that stack up when you combine the first two Triple Crown rounds? Let's have a look at that if we can. I'm not sure if we can have a look at that just at the moment. So let me press on, and then as soon as we can come back to it, I will, ladies and gentlemen. Sean, now that must be a big confidence booster going forward for the rest of the season, mate. I mean, Red Bull Ring's next stop, and there's some other circuits that suit you really well coming up later in the season as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's I think had the pace in the car, and I've had the pace in me, and having Dylan and Aaron on board this season has really helped my driving and finding those little tenths here and there, and I feel like I'm getting stronger and stronger. So it's just been bad luck, and I just realised for the Triple Crown I'm massively out of it because I was out turn 1, lap 1 for Watkins. So it'll be over to Dylan, I think. But yeah, looking forward to the rest of the season though, and Red Bull Ring, new track for everyone. It's going to be a challenge, but yeah, we've got some belter tracks coming up, and looking forward to continuing to push forward.
Indeed. Now, while Dylan Rudd's here, and also Dylan Pereira and David Kirby, I'll go to Kirby first. Surely it can only get better next week.
God, I hope so.
What's the plan of attack, mate?
Well, step
Stay
1,
out of the wall.
step 1, buy the track. Step 2, learn the track. Step 3, finish the race.
I like it.
look, Look, it can only go up from here. Like, I've had 2 bad rounds. Yeah, it's been the last few weeks, obviously, we've had a couple of big enduros in an LMP and a GT3 car. We did about the Spa 24-hour last week and everything. So, splitting your time between the supercar and that doesn't help. But you do the team thing for the enduros, and then you sort of got to come back and sort of focus on an individual thing with the different cars. So it's sort of splitting your time hasn't been ideal. But look, we'll keep moving forward, and yeah, like I said, look, it's only going to go up from here, and hopefully I'll have my wingman Michael Angus back next week. So it is tough when you're sort of out there by yourself, but yeah, to have your teammate out there on track as well, it makes things a little bit easier, and it calms you down a bit as well. So we'll look forward to next week, and yeah, see what we can salvage and finish strong for the rest of the season.
Excellent stuff, mate. Obviously, Red Bull Ring, a whole new circuit for the iRacing server. Good news overnight as well. I was only joking about this last night with the gentlemen's Sim Racing Club broadcast, because we were talking about that incident on Sunday night in Formula One. I said, maybe the Hungaro Ring's a circuit that the iRacing server needs. And sure enough, they made an announcement this morning saying the Hungaro Ring is still coming, as is rain. So we're going to have a chat to the boys about that in just a few moments as well. Dylan Pereira, yeah, exactly. Dylan Pereira, your thoughts on next week, Red Bull Ring, please?
Yeah, can't have raced it before, so I'll be downloading it tomorrow and doing a couple of laps, but looking forward to it and going through the process again of learning the track and finding pace and yeah, working with my teammates.
Excellent stuff. And Dylan Rudd, obviously, you go to Red Bull Ring with not a great degree of work to do. You've just got to rock up and keep finishing races and keep netting results, because at the moment, no one's proven to be a real threat to you in terms of the elusive championship at the end of 12 rounds. No time to get complacent, because we know a retirement will quickly bring you back to the pack. But do you feel that the pressure's been released a little bit now that you've got such a big buffer and a big advantage at the front end of town?
Yes and no. As you said, one DNF will put me back in the pack or down top 5. So yeah, definitely just need to keep getting those results and pushing up the front.
Now, while I wait for potential championship points, and it's not working, I'm just being told, so we won't be able to update the Triple Crown points tonight, but what we'll try and do is update them for you next week, or get them up on screen in the RSRA Super 2 E-Series broadcast, screenshot them and throw them up on the Facebook page so that you can have a look at them. I don't know. We'll find some way around that. In the meantime, can I just alert your attention to the Boomers in Argentina? The Argentinians with a 3-point lead at the moment, 24-21 over the Boomers in a must-win quarterfinal in Tokyo. The women's beach volleyball, the girls, Taliqua Clancy and co are up a little bit later on as well. So big late night coming up for sports fans right around the country. In the meantime,
Is that
Sean,
Caden?
Sean McNamara, you've been around the iRacing thing for a little while now. We've been talking about this for a while. We've been asking for it. I think between this and the red flag, that have to be the two most asked, most sought things in an iRacing server that we often discuss and think, Christ, how good would this be? Now, iRacing come out and confirm they are developing a rain model. What are your thoughts on that and what it might mean for the challenge that is iRacing on a weekly basis going forward?
Yeah, I think it's a good change. It'd be interesting to see. Obviously, it's probably not going to be update 1. It'll be update 10 before it's right. But yeah, it's going to be good. It'll be interesting to see, I guess, from a race server point of view about how you can build that into the race and all those bits and pieces, or if it's just going to be completely random. But it's an exciting change. Looking forward to it. And yeah, it's just going to be really interesting to see how they do the modelling and you know, I guess the old V8 supercar, so to speak. They'll base it on a few other things, and we'll see how the grip levels are like. But looking forward to it. Should be exciting.
Looking forward to it immensely. I mean, from a broadcast standpoint, it'll certainly shake things up if we happen to start a race dry and finish it wet and everything in between. But it adds a completely different dynamic, doesn't it, David Kirby? Because at the end of the day, we've been sitting here for a long time saying, oh, well, we know it's going to be dry. It's just going to be cloudy or sunny. The track's going to be hot or cold. Now we've got another variable to throw the cat amongst the pigeons with.
Oh, look, absolutely. I've been watching the video that and what Greg Hill was talking about and everything, and he went more in depth and actually showed a bit more of what it's going to be. And one thing he mentioned too is the weather model is actually not, the rain's not going to be global. So take Bathurst, for example, we all know what it can be like there. It can be raining at the top of the mountain and dry down on pit lane. So that'll be interesting. You know, once they get it right, as Sean alluded to, it won't be obviously right to start with.
No.
And I'm sure everyone's like, oh, give us rain, give us rain, give us rain. Rain will come, and then they'll hate it and blow up and everything like that. But once it settles down and they get it right, I think it's going to be great. But go to somewhere like Bathurst or Nürburgring where it's raining in one part of the track but then dry on the other, and that's going to be just a bigger challenge for everybody across the entire service.
It is a big challenge, David, because so long as they get the grip levels right between dry and wet. Now, I drive Automobilista 2 in the rain around Bathurst, and it does have that dynamic where it could be raining at the top and dry at the bottom. So whether they've got their grip right in that particular sim is debatable, depending on who you look at through the streamers. But I absolutely love the dynamic that you could be coming down Conrod Straight and then you get round to the other side and go up the mountain and you're back into rain again. It's just unbelievable. But they do have to get things right and grip levels right so that you can't drive like you do in the dry, in the wet.
Oh, absolutely. I think, you know, what they've been talking about too is obviously, because as we all know, the tracks are laser scanned, so the surface is as you went there physically and stood on it. So, you know, you're going to have puddles of water pooling in spots where they normally would too. So they're actually, what he was saying is the drains and everything that are normally on circuits, that, you know, they're making sure the actual flow rate of the water, it gets down as well. So they're actually going full on with it. They're not, I don't think they're going to do a half-assed job about it.
Well, that's good to hear.
You know, and really listening to what Greg Hill had to say about it, like, you know, they've got the entire team working on it. So, and kudos to them, because I think it's a game changer once it does get launched and shipped out to everybody. So, yeah, really looking forward to it.
I wonder if you'll have to pay a cent a raindrop. I'm not sure how they're planning on releasing that just yet. in the meantime, my socials have been going off tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies, and it's nothing to do with me, sadly. So I'll get to that with good reason very shortly. In the meantime, Dylan Pereira, Dylan Rudd, I want to come to you and get your thoughts on rain in iRacing. I mean, we know a lot of you drivers so talented, so versatile. You know your way around most of these tracks in most of these cars, but just add water and it's a whole different difficulty level. Dylan Pereira, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's great. Really looking forward to it. As another element that we need to hone in our skills on from a broadcast perspective, it seems amazing. If the F1 on the weekend's anything to go by, so yeah, really looking forward to it. I think it's going to add a lot of strategy as well.
And let's go to Dylan Rudd now and get your thoughts, because at the end of the day, I mean, you look at a series like this. If you've got 10 dry races and 2 wet races, there's going to be a little bit of a momentum shift depending upon who adapts to that new dynamic the best.
Yeah, should. I think as long as they get how the car reacts on the water and the grip surface has with being wet, I think it should be alright. I think they'll be challenging wet to drying conditions and how the track evolves and how it reacts to how it reacts really.
Oh no!
Hey,
No.
hang on. Just for the benefit of people at home, I just had it in the earpiece. I've just had it in the earpiece for people that don't know. Next season, Chicago in the rain was the suggestion from the sometimes cruel, but always with entertainment in mind, JP. Now, and possibly reverse grid as well. So, hey, why not? Hey, makes it more entertaining from my seat. Let's be perfectly honest. No, really good stuff tonight, and really good to get your insights on that, guys, with regards to rain and iRacing. I mean, it could now. It gives people who set up servers and series a whole new different kettle of fish to play with when they get it. But I think what Dylan Rudd said there about, and quite a few of you actually mentioned it, as long as they get it right, and as long as they get it right with regards to the different grip levels and the wet and dry tyres and all that sort of stuff. And there's another thing, it's going to throw in those unscheduled pit stops and keep everyone on their toes with coming into the lane and having to click between wet and dry tyres. That, I mean, we've seen people cock up, for like a better expression, their pit stops before, and that's just in dry racing. Imagine coming into the lane and accidentally clicking slicks when you want wets. Oh, geez. Oh dear. Now, in the midst of all of that, let's get to. Yeah, I know, I'm cruel, aren't I? Dylan Pereira for third tonight. The floor is yours to thank whoever you want, mate.
Yep, firstly, I want to thank JP for putting on an amazing series. The admin team behind the scenes as well, race control, the broadcast team, and the major team sponsors who are SimShed Broadcasting, Nationwide Technology Systems, Goodyear Autocare Warana, Dragon RC, DSL Welding Services, Brutzi Australia, and also VR Covers, Cars for Hope, Racing with Autism Australia, and Blue Stampede Labour Hire.
Dylan Rudd, the floor is yours.
I'd just like to thank all the guys at 95 Sim Sport, our sponsors, SRT Australia, Racecraft Simulations, iClean, Solar, Ipswich and Brisbane, Bala Media, Boss Surveillance Systems, 3D Printing Services, Cutting Edge Tracks, RSW Graphics, and Racing is Custom Protections, and job to Sean on the win and Dylan on third place.
Sean McNamara, am I right in saying that was your first win of the season? And if so, the floor is yours. Go for it.
It is the first win of the season, correct, sir. But yeah, look, thank you, obviously, JP for the series, all the admin team. I see exactly what goes on behind there, and there's a lot of work that goes into putting in the series. And yourself, Zach, and Chris, for your awesome commentary every single week. We do appreciate tuning into it. And of course, all the boys at 95 Sim Sport, Cracking season so far for the guys, and our sponsors, SRT Australia, Racecraft Simulations, Racing Ears Custom Ears Protection, Bale Media has just come on board with us. Welcome, Matt. iClean, Solar, Ipswich and Brisbane, Boss Surveillance Systems, Cutting Edge Tracks Australia, AD 3D Printing Services, and RSW Graphics. So thank you.
And I think that'll do us on that note. Well done, boys. Congratulations. Chris Kisby, Driver of the Night nomination from you, please.
Yeah, it's got to get on the race winner at McNamara. Went the way through, and you can't split them the way they go at the top there. It's so hard to. But if I had to pick one, it would be Sean. Well done, mate.
I think incredibly impressive that Sean, among others, had a clean race tonight. This is not one of those circuits that lends itself to clean races every day you run there.
I don't think I've ever finished race there. I've always crashed it.
Exactly. It's not one of those circuits where notoriously clean races are conducted. So the fact that we went through with just the one safety car, also a testament to these guys, but well done to all those that had a clean race along the way tonight. McNamara, the winner from Rudd and Pereira. Apologies, we can't bring you the points as far as the Triple Crown is concerned. We'll get them to you later in the week or next week. Couple of things before we go. Next round of the championship, Red Bull Ring. In fact, we had the calendar up a moment ago. There it is again. So Red Bull Ring, then Imola, Spring Ring Motegi, and then we finish off with the doubleheader in Australia, Phillip Island and Mount Panorama Bathurst. So 5 great circuits to finish us off, and we're done with the street circuits now. A lot of runoff area with the next 4 circuits. When you get to Bathurst, though, no margin for error, especially when you've got a reverse grid race to close out the championship as well, if you don't mind. Now, that's what's coming up on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting. I have to, however, alert your attention to Wednesday Night Motorsport in the sense that you'll be now seeing it on Thursday night for this week only at this stage, because in their infinite wisdom, the great people at iRacing, who normally conduct their server updates at 11 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, conducting them at 9 o'clock Australian Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night, which means that the boys can't finish their race if they were to start it at 8:30. The servers go down, so everything just gets pushed back 24 hours. You'll see it Thursday night from 8:20 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Matt Davis will be here in the booth. All the best to him with the call for round 7 of the RSRA Super 2 E-Series and their second Triple Crown round as well. In the meantime, as far as the rest of it's concerned, Saturday Night Motorsport returns, and it remains in the same slot, 7:20 Australian Eastern Standard Time. The Weekend Warriors Cup Car Racing Series heads to Darlington on Saturday night for Retro Round, and we'll be with you for all of that and more from 7:20. I'll be back in the booth again, thanks to the Greater Brisbane lockdown, and my sources are telling me that it's not going to finish this Sunday, so expect me in the booth for Weekend Warriors until such time that it is over and I'm out chasing real-world motorsport again. But in the meantime, 7:20 for all that from Darlington, JP and possibly Billy, who else may be with me in the booth as well. Looking forward to that immensely. Thirdly, next Tuesday night, all eyes right here. The Olympics will be over, so I'll be less distracted. All eyes, all focus right here on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting across YouTube and Facebook. Round 8 of the RSRA Super Series from the Red Bull Ring in Austria, the newest track, the newest permanent circuit in the server, and looking forward to it immensely. Of course, the championships been throwing a few curveballs in recent weeks, but one thing remains clear, and that is that Dylan Rudd is an unbackable favourite at this point in time. As long as he just keeps taking the checkered flag, he should win this series. I know that's an early call to make, but he's looking very good at the moment. All the stats stack up in his favour, and certainly throw some weight behind the favourite tag at this point in time. So with all that in mind, you're up to date with what's happening on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting, where and when and how, and we look forward to your company for the RSRA Super Series next week. A huge thanks to all the people that put it together for us. Of course, we couldn't do it without these people. Nationwide Tracking Systems, Goodyear Auto Care Rarana, Racecraft Simulations, DSL Welding, Dragon RC, Devon Stove Designs, Blue Stampede Labour Hire, and the people at FU Suicide. Also SDK Gaming, Nationwide Technology Systems, of course. Did I say tracking systems again? My goodness. Kisby, it's been 13 weeks and I can't get
Yes.
that change around my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's it.
hopeless. So Nationwide Technology Systems, of course, and it's written here on the sheet, but I still read it as tracking. I don't know. But SDK Gaming, big thanks to them. Track Camps for Gourmet and the team at SimShed Broadcasting as well are the broadcast partners of this championship. Really looking forward to the final 5 rounds of the season. What Sean McNamara can bring to the table now that he's in the winner's circle, what Dylan Pereira can bring to the table now that he's, factoring prominently at the top end of town, whether Alex Court can get back up there, what the guys that ran into trouble tonight, like Cameron Jones and Aaron Dodd, can do, whether Simon Chadwick can fly the flag for the Fords, what Rehan Leonage can do as the youngster in the field. There's so much to be excited about, to look forward to for next week. As I said, whenever we're broadcasting during other sporting events, one on the sport that's being broadcast, one on the sim racing, make sure the volume's on us next week. No competition for Tuesday Night Motorsport. All eyes right here, 8:20 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Look forward to your company for that. Chris Kisby, thank you to you for your company tonight.
Thank you, mate. And what a night of racing! What night of racing to come! And don't worry about it, mate. It's only muscle memory, and that muscle
no.
you've got in your head there, mate. It works overtime with all the facts and figures. So I don't mind your little mistakes there.
No, it happens from time to time, and let's face it, it's 10:36, so we're all over time and we're all tired as well. But been a great night. At this point in time, WA viewers, if you've been watching, Beauty and the Geek on Channel 9, tune out now because it hasn't finished airing. It's about half an hour off finishing over there in Western Australia. So I don't want to spoil it for you. Tune out now. Go watch the end of that or the Olympics or whatever. But WA viewers, feel free to ship through. As for everybody else, can I just say, one of my former, whether he's a former, whether he's a current, it doesn't matter. He's a mate of mine. He's a former commentary colleague. His name's Lachlan Mansell. He just cleaned up on Beauty and the Geek tonight, ladies and gentlemen. 12 episodes later, when I thought at the start of all of this, because I got wind of this happening back at Easter, before it was made public, I thought, oh, God, he's going to bring the world of motorsport into disrepute. No, he didn't. He went out and smashed it and won the bloody thing. It's 50K each for him and his partner. Off they go. Happy days. Well done to Lockie and young Kira as well. And it's funny because we went out for lunch over summer, Christmas just gone. Lockie and I went out into one of the local establishments in Cessnock, and I said, I'll get the garlic bread this time around, Mansell. You can buy it next time. It'll be buying more than the bloody garlic bread next time around, let me assure you. But no, well done, mate. I know everybody's already throwing accolades your way, but from the team at SimShed Broadcasting, we pass on our best as well. And good, good form, great stuff. Good to see you pull that off because let's face it, we've had the privilege of knowing Lockie for a long, long time. He is a little geek, and now he's set out and proved it. So well done. 100K. Imagine what you'd do with that, especially in a lockdown. Fair income.
I'll have to go back and see what the makeover was like.
Yeah, that was Sunday, and they weren't working with much compared to some of the other guests in there. Let me tell you, but no, well done, Lockie. We mean that sincerely. No, excellent stuff. Great win, and motorsport has never, like motorsport people have never got around reality television as much as they have the last 12 episodes of Beauty and the Geek. It's the only thing that's offered any competition to the Olympics in terms of the ratings in the last couple of weeks. But well done, mate. Thank you for that. And I hope you've enjoyed it at home. That's it from us on the platforms of SimShed Broadcasting. We are done. Round 7 of the series in the books. Sean McNamara in victory lane on behalf of the entire SimShed Broadcasting team from here at the virtual Grand Prix at Belle Isle Circuit in Detroit, Michigan. I'm Zach Caden bidding you a very good night.